Well, hey everybody. Well, hey everybody. Well,
are you gonna break out into song right now?
What's that? I was trying to find the right frequency.
Yeah.
I think I'm going through puberty.
This is like
Yeah, you need to do that little thing for the movies where you blow into that little
whistle, tone whistle.
Yeah, it's a little circle, and you blow into one side. Hey everybody! Hey everybody! Oh, do the guitar. Hey.
My playback in my earbud isn't working. That's the only way I can hit the right note.
Yep.
I gotta hear myself in my ear.
Anyway, hey everybody, welcome back.
Like Mariah Carey.
It's time for the RageSelect podcast. You're on RageSelect time, Jeff.
I'm ready.
Not gonna lie, it's a weird one, Amanda. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's no comprehensive theme this week. It's just
honestly though, when it's you and I together, how comprehensive does it get?
Well, sometimes we got like a showcase, but like this week it's like the fucking golden corral of news. It's all gross and it's been sitting out for a long time.
Some kids sneezed on it already.
Yeah, you probably don't want to eat here, but we'll make it work. We always make it work.
Yeah.
We always make it work. But before we get to that. Amanda, I watched a delightful movie last week.
Oh, delightful!
It was incredibly delightful. This is going off of my like looking for high score movies, and I don't care what they are. I'm just going to watch them no matter what. And I watched The Wild Robot.
Oh, yeah.
This new DreamWorks.
Lupita Nyong'o is the star.
And
Pedro Pascal's in it.
Yeah. Matt Berry's in there.
Yeah, there's somebody else that I remember their voice, and I was
Catherine
like...
O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara is who I was thinking of.
I watched it. I really didn't know that much about it because I'd never even watched like a single trailer for it.
Yeah, I happened upon a trailer, and then,
But it was just goddamn delightful, and it was like one of those things where I'm like, a little kid could watch this, an adult could watch this. Like this is actually would be like the perfect movie to watch with children because they're going to be because the whole point of the movie is that you've got this kind of like helper robot that gets dropped into the wilderness and is trying desperately to get a task to do because that's like their whole programming is to do tasks, and when none of the animals will like respond to this giant hulking metal machine, it like learns to talk to the animals, and then that kind of like moves the plot forward with like some there's like a specific animal that needs help, and then friendship and lighthearted adventures. And
just from the trailer that I saw, it looks somewhere between Iron Giant meets like WALL-E.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison. The one thing though that I liked about it was that it's like the newest thing in the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where like it's got a little, it's not just Pixar 3D.
Yeah.
It's got this kind of painterly overlay where you see, it's not quite as pronounced as like it was in Ninja Turtles, but it reads as something between hand animated and CGI animated, which I like quite a bit. But yeah, it was absolutely adorable. The only caveat I had about it was that the animals are really upfront at the beginning of the movie about like, oh no, we eat each other and die all the time and stuff. Like, there's a point where the Catherine O'Hara plays this possum that has little possum babies, and she's talking to the robot about motherhood, and she's like, I got 6 kids, and you hear like snap. It's like, I have 5 kids. And then like later on, when that little possum shows back up, he's like, Mom, I survived. She's like, I have 6 kids. So, like the movie is not shying away from the fact that these are wild animals that totally consume each other. But it was, other than that, A++.
Nice.
Absolutely delightful.
Yeah, no one's going to watch it. Yeah. It's already out in theaters.
It's already out on VOD. That's why I watched it. So, yeah. Well, actually, I think it did really good in theaters. Did it? I think it did really well. The thing that I feel like...
There's other things in the news right now, so I haven't been keeping up with my movie info.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I think that people... I remember when Inside Out 2 came out and people were really surprised at how well it did, or like whenever like a Minions movie comes out and people are really surprised. And it's like, I know that from our perspective, we're all like nerds in our 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
But some people have children, and they need those children to sit the fuck down and chill out for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And like The Good Robot is appropriate for children to go sit down and chill out for 2 hours.
I guess it's just that there was a time in recent cinema history where a good animated film wasn't going to do numbers.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Where it'd be like, why is no one watching this? Why the fuck are they only watching Minion and Shrek movies? Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But I guess maybe people are past it. I will also say that this one, it came out the same week as Terrifier 3, so there is a chance that people are just buying tickets for the one they can get into, teenagers getting the tickets to the movie they can get into and then going to see the spooky one.
What did it do? It did total what, 100 million worldwide? Domestic? I don't know. I don't know how to read.
Domestic.
Okay. International
made
total 200, almost $200 million worldwide. So, which, that's great for, I'm sure that movie cost some amount of money to make, but less than $200 million. So,
yeah, for sure.
Especially, I'm so proud of moviegoers because especially for, it's not a franchise. It was based on a book, but like nobody is ever. Yeah. It's not a thing, right? So it wasn't like a Spider-Man movie. It wasn't a fucking Star Wars thing. It was just like, hey, here's a movie about a robot.
And everyone's like, yeah, yeah.
So
I'm in.
Yeah. Because I will say that you mentioned it before. There is nothing more gratifying than looking at how Terrifier is kicking the ever-loving shit out of that Joker sequel.
I know.
Of just like, and I keep having to explain because my dad doesn't know anything about horror movies. He doesn't watch them. Mm-hmm. And I keep trying to explain to him how it's like, yeah, you could make a movie like Terrifier for like $6 million and it'll gross like $250 million.
That's why it's, yeah. I also, there's something funny about the killer clown beating the killer clown.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, so you've never watched any Terrifier movies, right?
No, because it looks slasher gore festy and it's not necessarily my jam. I'm starting to get mildly interested in the person because he wrote, directed, and plays Art the Clown.
Art the Clown, yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I love when horror people are just like me and all of it, or like all of my buddies in every single one of these. Yeah. So it just makes me a little more like old school horror-y in my heart.
The thing, so I think what's really interesting is that what it was probably Babadook, new Pennywise, Art the Clown. Like, we don't get as many horror icons as we used to, like, in the 80s and sometimes a little bit in the 90s we had like, all of them. And even when you get past the big guys, you got Dr. Giggles and Candyman and fucking,
oh yeah, for sure.
And so Art the Clown, like the way that that guy plays Art the Clown is really amazing. He doesn't have any lines. He's just got this very creepy look on his face. And unlike a Jason or a Freddy or even a Michael Myers, he just goes into the world like in the first half before all the craziness happens. Because you can they take place on Halloween and in the second one, there's a thing where the main protagonist is in a Hot Topic and he's in there as well, like kind of staring at her but also so taunting her,
a creepy dude in a Hot Topic, and you're like, why are you fucking hassling me, man?
Yes. Yeah. But the second one got really weird.
Oh yeah.
It was like prophecies and it got real supernatural. The first one's just like, hey, this fucked up dude is killing people in a warehouse.
Horror has a tendency to go bigger and bigger every time.
Yeah.
It's very funny because action movies will be like, Fast and Furious very hilariously starts as a simple story and then gets ridiculous by the end. When horror movies do it, you end up with like Jason in space.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know we were Michael and I were playing that Halloween video game that came out last week. It was like Michael Myers started out as just like a guy, and then I think what past was 4, 5, and 6 where they started to kind of Jasonify him into an entity.
Yeah.
Like the Dr. Loomis, he's pure evil, became he's like a devil or something.
Yeah.
And then they kind of eventually pulled it back, I think around H2O.
Yeah. Where Busta Rhymes beat the shit out of him.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Anyway, Wild Robot, absolutely incredible. I'm gonna watch that Transformers movie this week. I also found something really interesting. I just mentioned it, but I'll come back to it later. I started watching a BBC show that is literally not anywhere in America. Like it is like I gotta get a VPN to Britain and open the BBC iPlayer app to watch it. I
need a VPN and so I can watch a BBC show that isn't available in the States because they have a sewing competition, the Great British Spelling Bee, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like dying to watch it.
So I watched a few episodes of this show called Ludwig, and it's like the main person is David Mitchell from Peep Show, and he plays a crossword puzzle maker.
Okay, that's what's in the background. You can kind of see the little crosswords, but I was like, is it just spooky?
Well, it's weird because he plays a crossword puzzle. He plays like the best crossword puzzle guy, and he has a twin brother who's like a police detective, and the twin brother just disappears, and he sends his wife, who they both know from childhood, like a note saying like take the kid and leave, and she's like, I need more information than that. So she cons him into coming to their house and posing as the brother to infiltrate the police department. But then all of his dumb crossword stuff, he just starts treating murders like puzzles and crazily solving them, even though he has no idea.
That's amazing.
Like in the first episode, he solves a murder and they're just like, well, then why did she do it? And he's like, I don't know.
That's not my job.
Like, I only know that she was the only person who could have done it, type of thing. And so it's like a fish out of water thing. And I like David Mitchell, and it's interesting to see him in like, it's like half a comedy, but then there's also kind of like sinister undertones. Yeah. I don't know. I need to finish watching it. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, what about you? You watch anything? Do anything?
The only things I've been watching, John and I are going to start our horror movie stuff on Sunday. I bought tickets to
Terrifier 3?
No. Phantom of the Paradise in theaters.
Oh, nice.
So I love that movie. It's one of my absolute favorites. Yeah. So we're going to start our like horror movie a night until Halloween thing then. Besides that, I've just been watching Dan to Dan or Don to Don, however you say it, which I really love. You and I talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about it on mic, though. I mean, I talked about it a few weeks.
I was going to say, like, you have, because it was a thumbnail for one of the podcasts that I definitely listened to.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I think that I think everybody that I know is watching it, because I got Matt watching it, and then I know Tessa's watching it. Yeah. And like you're watching it, John's watching it.
I'm assuming Michael's watching it.
Not yet.
That bitch. Michael, I'm calling you out publicly.
Yeah.
But I've been watching that and I liked it. I still like it. The first episode was rough for me, but like it looked so good and the characters are so great that I was like, I'll give it another shot, and then it's just been fantastic ever since.
I've been really surprised because I don't tend to watch that many like straight up romance animes. I've watched a few, My Dress Up Darling and the 100 Girlfriends or whatever, but like I really like the way that the two mains are like kind
with
of
each other, and
the quote unquote chemistry between the two animated
I like the
people.
Part where he called her a bitch. She does the like. I like that. I love when people set up standard like anime or even like teen show stuff where it's like, you know what your problem is, and then they like just tear somebody apart, and then that's like kind of the end of those scenes usually. And instead having somebody realistically be like, what a fucking bitch. What a cunt. Like, why are you being so mean to me right now?
Yeah.
I agree. I think their dynamic together is super great. And then the only other thing I'm watching is The Return. Twin Peaks, The Return. I'm only 7 episodes in, but there's only 18 episodes, so I'm like almost.
Have we gotten to
Don't spoil it for me,
okay,
Jeff. I will murder.
Never mind.
Have we got to some mystery?
I'll we can talk about it off mic. We gotta get to other stuff because we got plenty of news to get through. So we don't have any big unifying thing this week, but what we did have was a very brief 10-minute.
Maybe the big unifying thing is the friendships we've made along the way, Jeff.
Monster Hunter Wilds showcase. Yeah, which is interesting because, as I understand it, this Monster Hunter Wilds is out in, I think, February. Okay. So it's kind of around the corner. Or is it February? They had a thing at the end. Yeah, February 28th. So this is a really slight showcase. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it was just like, a thing that happened.
Big old chunk of video game.
Yeah, they kind of showed off this new kind of civilization that seems like a kind of a, I don't know, sort of, it's like a big forge, and it's in these caves that have like oil and shit in them. And so there's like a couple of monsters. They show one that's like, that lives in the quote unquote oil sand that's there, and they show these kind of like fiery monsters. I don't know. It looks interesting. I'm going to be interested because I got really into the last Monster Hunter game and I played it. But I'm not sure if I'm a fan of Monster Hunter or just a fan of that one game. Like, that could happen, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Where you're like, I don't like all of Resident Evil. I like Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one of the two big monsters.
It's like an oil maggot with a mosquito face.
Yeah, it's got this kind of big, pointy thing on it. And then you've got this weird armored Baradillo guy that apparently shows up when like the place is on fire and kind of crawls along the ceiling like a monkey, so kind of a bear monkey, armadillo, pangolin,
baboonadillo,
bear,
pangolin.
And then the last thing that they had was this, I don't know, it was a really big monster called the Black Flame that was like this giant kind of multi-tentacled,
like centipede-ish.
Yeah, and it's all real dramatic. I mean, they're using using the RE engine, a lot of characters out. So yeah,
this is, I don't know. I don't play Monster Hunter, but I always thought of Monster Hunter as very like in nature and bright colors and stuff. Not like cartoony bright, but like bright, like colorful. And this is all. I mean, I know it's all in caves, but it's just very dark and kind of one color tone.
Let's see if I can.
Or is this just because they're showing the battles?
I think it's just because of where they are.
Yeah,
like they're showing off this
the pit of oil, and it's like everything literally looks like real slick.
What is this? Get out of here with the stuff. I'm trying to look at
the ads.
Yeah. Okay. So it's called the Oil Well Basin. Is like the name of the of that area. Like, and so
if you don't eat right, you're gonna end up with an oil well basin in your tummy.
So they have shown like so the thing is that this version of Monster Hunter.
Oh, I remember the trailer for part of this.
Yeah, so
I think we talked about it.
The last one was a little bit more cartoony, and this one is a lot more realistic, which I think is why it's
That's right. You got those Ewok cats.
Yeah, like you can. They've shown off a lot of these kind of desert areas, but there's also like jungles and stuff. But I think that the whole thing is kind of like semi-desaturated to emphasize the like realism.
We're serious this time,
right?
Yeah.
As opposed to like Monster Hunter Rise was like almost cell shaded because it was a Switch game.
Yeah,
and so it was
which might be what I'm thinking of because I know my brother was trying to get me to play one, which would mean it would have to be one that I could play on the Switch.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter Rise,
and I said no,
was a little bit more simplified, and it had a slightly like brighter overall kind of color palette.
Yeah, because like I mean, it's definitely more cartoony than this new one that's coming out, Wilds, but it's still not like. You know,
it's not
like baby cartoony. It's like it's just like more stylized, I guess.
There is a baby cartoony version of an RPG they made that's called Monster Hunter Stories, but because
Monster Hunter babies.
It's such a big franchise. Like So yeah. Anyway, they showed off those parts, and that was kind of it. Like they talked about the area.
They're like, look how slick this oil is.
Yeah, the big Rompopolo is a wyvern.
He looks like he'd make squishing noises.
Yeah,
if you hugged him.
He's got like the arms, but they just got giant spikes on the end of them.
Yeah.
So
and then he got a spiky butt too.
And then Ajarakan, who is the aforementioned monkey, bear, pangolin, armadillo, fire guy. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like they're kind of just showing
cool.
off more. I don't know. I don't think this has any reference to any other Monster Hunter games because I think they'd always just kind of start over. I don't know if this is directly.
I respect that more than I do the. This is 75 games in now,
Right.
so if you want to get into it, good luck. It's like, nope, you start from the beginning every single time, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I guess the other big thing is that they announced an open beta for it that's happening.
Nice.
October 31st to November 3rd. And
Halloween weekend.
Yeah, and then the PlayStation 5 has an early access to it starting October 28th. And there's going to be like 3 little separate chunks of it. So you can do the character creator, which is, I don't know why games always. Some games are like, you can access the character creator like a month before the game comes out.
But some people, that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
Because like, I want to spend some time and really build my character.
Yeah.
And then I play the game and I'm like, oh, I just wanted to build this character.
Yeah. I mean, they put out, there was that, there was a Sims, I think Inzoi something.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a Sims competitor that's being made and they just released their character creator, and then like people went nuts for a week just making celebrities and themselves and all that stuff. So, but I guess the only reason I say that is because Monster Hunter, in my opinion, is less sliders and more just like pick a face type of thing. So
maybe this is more detailed than that.
Possibly so.
And you get to make your kitty cat. I forgot your Palico.
So
he's
you
my
get to
little pal.
make your character.
Ooh, she's beautiful. She's beautiful.
They talk about how you can definitely make muscle mommies.
Nice.
And yeah, you can change up your Palico.
You can get tattoos. You can get makeup.
Yep.
Several hair designs.
Yep.
Yeah. Just want to make a kitty cat.
So yeah, there's 3 parts. You could do that. You get to play the kind of prologue to the game, like the opening tutorial where you fight this big lizard tongue looking motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a big old tongue. Or is he throwing up his stomach?
I don't know. It could be one. I don't know.
It's complicated.
I don't know.
We need some sort of Monster Hunter biologist.
Yeah.
Or some zoologists to tell us what's going on here.
And then the Doshaguma hunt. Doshaguma.
We need somebody to help us pronounce these words.
Damn right. And that's just like a little pre-made like hunt.
Yeah. Those just look like faceless bears.
They're kind of that. But it's also going to be multiplayer. So you can summon in friends. You can also just summon in NPCs, which is okay. I don't know. I'm used to having in Monster Hunter Rise, it was you and your Palico, and then you had a dog, and I was like, that's all I need, baby.
Yeah.
But then I got into
my
some of the
bipedal
online.
cat and my quadrupedal dog.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. This looks a lot like a Monster Hunter game. Like you get out there and you got all the weapons and stuff. And I guess it's nice to give people a chance to try it out. Apparently, there's not going to be any like tech support or anything during this point. But I believe that they said that if any progress you make will then carry back over into the main game.
That's good.
Which is fair. But apparently. Not the friends you make, like your friends list will be cleared out or whatever. Like, so
you got to remake them friends.
You got to make them friends all over again.
Forget it. I don't want to. I'll just be alone for the rest of my life.
You also get a giant stuffed animal, like little.
Oh hell yeah! Like a little charm on your sword.
Yeah, and you can put it on your sword, or you can put it on the saddle of your weird little lizard bird guy.
That's cute.
Secret. Whatever.
Secreto.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. They also showed off, pre-orders and fucking bonuses and
neat.
Get a million things. I don't know.
Those straight up Three Musketeers outfit, right? Like I'm not just
sort of, or kind of Red Mage from Final Fantasy. Kind of had the similar swashbuckling outfit. I don't know. Everybody's super into the big blonde lady
with the big old ponytail. I saw her.
Yeah.
She stood out a little bit because she's giant fucking 80s hair.
Yep.
I mean, I respect it, but where are you getting that hairspray? You going down to the oil mines and getting hairspray, girl?
They're probably making it out of monsters. Everything in Monster Hunter gets made out of monsters. True. It's like, oh, I need a new shirt. I guess I got to go hunt 14 monkeys in order to make a new shirt. I'm gonna give all these monkey hides to this cat.
Kill a faceless bear because he secretes hairspray.
That's for my couch. I need a couch, so I'm gonna make the faceless bear couch. So yeah. Anyway, that was Monster Hunter Wilds, and just letting everybody know that the big beta is happening. So, yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Let's see. From there, we're going to go ahead and talk about Space Marine 2, because there was a little bit of a kind of a Tempest in a teacup type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you remember when Helldivers 2 came out, and for months and months, the devs were basically making all of the weapons less effective and adding enemies to the game, and it pissed off the community because they were like, I want to have fun with your video game, but you keep making it harder and harder to have any fun with this. Well, Space Marine 2 did a somewhat similar thing.
Yeah.
They added
Isn't that kind of standard, though? Because they're like you don't really know if something's OP or nerfed too much, so you have to until people are like playing it, and then you start realizing.
Yeah, I think it's just there's actually a quote in later on where one of the head developers says that like it was actually really it was a really pithy observation that I hadn't heard before, where he's like, before a game comes out, the game belongs to us, the developers, but once a game comes out, the ownership is mostly now that of the players. So like internally adjusting things, that's fine, but you have to then take into account the fact that like you can't just make a game less fun for the people who spent their hard-earned money on it and then tell them to fucking live with it. And if they get mad about that, you can't hold that against them, because you know, especially if the game was functioning fine, if it wasn't broken, and then you do something that makes the experience feel worse for the player, that's not going to be good.
Yeah,
they're gonna have bad feelings, and they're going to be justified in those bad feelings.
Yeah.
Which brings up a really interesting question of just like, so when that happens, a lot of times the player response is to review bomb a game. And
is that like their only weapon in the arsenal of fandoms right now in video games?
Pretty much, like, because the thing is that, you know, you can complain on Twitter, but companies don't really give a shit whether you complain on Twitter.
They don't have their own
you can make like a
internet.
YouTube video
like
saying
subreddits that are dedicated specifically to.
Yeah, the thing is that you can make all the requests in the world that you want, but review brigading like affects like, okay, I was thinking about buying that new Space Marine 2 game, and you open up Steam and you're like, overwhelmingly negative. Oh, that's okay. I think I'll just go play Monster Hunter World instead, or Helldivers 2 or whatever. So like, I think that being able to apply pressure to those public, like, I'm so split, because on the one hand, if you have a legitimate grievance like the people
then
here,
it makes sense, and it's totally a form of communicating what they want.
But people these days also have like, this game is woke, let's review bomb it. And it's like, well, but I don't care about whether it's woke. Like, whether it's woke or not woke, I don't give a shit. All I care about is whether games are good or not. So you know, you start with the best of intentions, and then it gets co-opted into something that can be used for less than good reasons. Anyway, the big thing here is that apparently there's kind of a co-op mode that you can play after you play through the main story mode, where it's like a 3-person PvE co-op mode, and they added a third or like a new difficulty level that was like a super extreme difficulty level, but then they also retroactively made all the rest of the difficulties a little bit harder. They made all of the weapons less potent, and they added a new thing. I didn't even see this, and it got rolled back before I even recorded Warhammer for this week, where like, to regenerate shields in the game, you now have to like be close to the other people in your squad. And like there are some classes, like the guy with the jump pack, that is a mobile class that goes all over the place.
To be like,
or you're trying to spread out to deal damage over here, and then I'm going to cover this side. You're too far away from each other, and suddenly you die. And so they've rolled a lot of that back, which is good, because it took like, I don't know, 6 months worth of bitching at the Helldivers 2. And I think part of that with Helldivers was, I think I said at the time, where they had the updates basically all lined up and ready to go, because Helldivers was trying to stay ahead of like the players, right? So they wanted like months of content ready to go, so they were never caught flat-footed. But what that meant was that when they had to turn course, you weren't going to see that course correction until all of those updates had been rolled out, or until they trashed all of them and then said no updates for 2 months while we fix this, both of which would have gotten
damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of thing.
So they went ahead this week and they pushed back They pushed back a bunch of the tweaks. They took away the little shield thing. They redid the weapon damage to go back up again.
Yeah, it's kind of mean to nerf the weapons and make it harder.
Yes, yes.
Like maybe one or the other. If they're like, dang, these weapons are like killing everything too fast. You guys are blowing through everything in a way that doesn't seem like what we intended for you to do.
Right.
But then to be like, and as punishment.
Right. And so one of the other things that they did, and then I think Helldivers did the same thing, and everybody should do it. So, developers that are listening to this, like, pay the fuck attention. They're spinning up a public test server where you roll these changes out and see how your dedicated fan base does with them, and then make adjustments if necessary before pushing them to public. Like everybody that is successful does this, and whenever a developer doesn't do it, it's just like, but why? Like we know what you're supposed to do, just do that instead. So, but at the very least,
video games trying to cut corners. I can't believe it.
Never heard of it before.
Put that on the headline.
Yep. So Space Marine 2 back to normal. Let's see. Oh, they also released a 4K texture pack for Space Marine 2 on the PC. That apparently you must have like one of the fastest video cards known to man in order to use, and also changes the install size of the game from 75 gigs to 160 gigs.
Ooh,
so like more than doubles it.
Seeing all the things.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
Yeah.
So, like, one dude with a really nice computer setup was able to play it.
Right. Well, I don't know. The PC gamers, just like, PC's way better. And it's like, how much did you spend on your computer?
Yeah,
how much did you spend on your computer? Was it $5,000? Okay, well, I spent $700 on my PS5 Pro, and it seems fine.
But you can't act like you're better than everybody with a PS5 Pro.
Sure, I can. Other people have regular PS5s.
Stop me. John has a play date, and he acts better than everybody else, and nobody even knows what that is.
Look, logic has never stopped a human being from acting superior to another human being. All right. Let's see. From there, we have another online kind of controversy that's happening right now with the game Hunt Showdown 1896, which is a kind of a PvE, like it's an old timey kind of hunting monsters type of thing. And they added in for their Halloween season a Ghostface skin from Scream.
Fucking Ghostface, man.
And like, okay, they've done skins before. They actually did skins for like Mad Max and for Furiosa, where they're this kind of like steampunky. They kind of took that aesthetic and then they tried to integrate it in here. This is just some guy wearing the mask from Scream in like the 1800s, and it looks absolutely fucking stupid.
It looks silly.
It looks real dumb. It looks out of place. Then they put like a hat on over it, like to try to, I guess,
and then with like,
but just none of it looks right. Or like, actually, no, I'll take that back. The mask doesn't look right. Everything else is fine. Yeah. Like if the guy was wearing like some kind of like,
you know what it looks like? It looks like a mod.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody was like, it'd be really funny, and then they just like added the mask on a character that already existed.
Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 was Ghostface?
Yeah. It looks a little like if Red Dead Redemption was like, we were going to be cheeky, we're going to put a cowboy ghost face. I'm also like not a big Scream fan. I don't know what is up with everyone's obsession with Scream, but like more power to you, I guess. But it's just just a fucking goddamn guys.
Well, isn't the first one? It's just fucking Skeet Ulrich or whatever. Or no,
Matthew Lillard and
the other guy.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's just like two assholes.
Yeah.
Like he's not
just assholes. Fucking teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, just little douchey teenagers.
He's not a Freddy Krueger. He's not a Michael Myers. He's not even an Art the Clown.
Yeah.
It's just a guy in a mask. And then as it goes on,
and it's always a different person. It's always not the same fucking guy.
But yeah, it's funny because I had heard about this. I saw it on Reddit. I saw somebody doing like a breakdown of all the different costume packs that they've sold, because I think it's one of those ones that are making their money off of cosmetics.
Yeah.
This just screams corporate. It screams that management did a deal because of the thing, and now you guys have to put it in. And that the developers were like, well, what do we have to put in? And they're like, you have to see the mask. And they're like, okay, let's
how else could you do? What's he going to do? Wear the boring it's just a fucking cloak. Like, you want him in a cloak?
I mean, the thing is that I think that if the developers had been given more latitude, they might have been able to alter that mask in a way that made it look a little bit more like it was supposed to be in this time period.
And it's just dirty.
Right, but there's obviously just like part of this contract that said like the mask must look like the mask from Scream.
Yeah.
It must look like the mask from Scream. And so no matter what you do, it's going to look
Because I'd be really interested if they could have done it where it just looks like it, but it's different things that make it look like it. Like, he's wearing goggles, but they like they've melted or something, and then he's got a face covering that like droops weird, and so it gives that long mouth look.
Or he's got he's wearing like a bandana over the bottom that happens to be stained in a way that makes it look like the big mouth that's open. You know
what I mean? That like puts it together, and you know what it is, but it's not it, but it is it kind of thing. But to be like, no, it's a plastic Halloween mask in the old-timey westerny looking like 1896's Spirit Halloween costume of the year.
You might even been able to make it look like if you'd had the same face, but it had just been made out of like
carved out of like wood,
like non-lacquered wood, like raw wood, like really roughly chiseled out of a piece of like bark.
That would look like that would look like the mask before it gets put on.
Yeah. But like anything, it could have worked. But but they literally
went with plastic mask.
Yeah. So. And apparently,
or like even something weird like a ceramic or something, where it's like a doll's face that he put on his, but it. Yeah.
I mean, even if there was more to it, even if there's more to the mask than just the front of it, right? Like I don't know. It looks so stupid. And I'm sorry, Hunt, Showdown 1896 people. I don't play your game, but I feel your pain.
Homie, don't play that.
It's so... And you know what? I think the hat makes it look even worse. I'm
so mad at the hat.
Because it's like a beekeeper hat.
Yes,
it's got like this gauze on the
assuming
side.
it was the beekeeper hat.
If it was just like a big leather hood... it might have even looked even closer.
Yeah.
But like this weird hat on top of it. It's a hat on a hat.
Yeah. I think they really were trying to push the time period thing. And that it just, so they couldn't, if they did just the hood, which could also fit in the time period, it wouldn't look it because he also just wears a hood in modern times.
Yeah.
So you got, it's like
it's so
a whole fucking thing.
It's real dumb. Let's see. Speaking of real dumb stuff, let's talk about Ubisoft for a little while.
Yeah.
So here's a weird thing that
didn't know we were gonna fight today.
Here's a weird thing that just happened. Ubisoft just dropped the early access period for Assassin's Creed Shadows. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is one of those games where Ubisoft has consistently been doing the thing where if you buy the digital deluxe edition, you get 3 days early access.
They said, not this time, baby.
Nope, no early access. And that also meant that they're
like, you guys review bomb when we do that, so
their $280 collector's edition.
God damn, $280. I can't play it a day early.
Fucking yeah, is now $230.
Oh, wow.
Because they took that part out of it, but it's still got like everything else in it. The thing is that like I don't really agree with the backlash of the Assassin's Creed the Shadows thing. I think it's dumb. But I don't care. I don't care about Assassin's Creed whatever. Assassin's Creed hasn't been a game for me for quite a while. But guys, this isn't going to help. Like, I know that their idea is that if you let people play it early, then they'll be able to register lower scores early, and then those scores will show up. Like people who don't like the game will buy it, play it early, so that they can leave a legit review and give it a low score of like woke, blah, 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 woke garbage, yada, yada, yada. They're going to do that anyway, my man. Like, they're going to do it anyway. I don't know what to tell you. All you're doing, like, it's like when companies have really restrictive copy protection, where it's like, I know you're doing this to keep people from review bombing your game, but then you're also making your most fervent customers unhappy.
You're alienating everyone.
The people that can't wait to play it also can't play it 3 days early.
I think they should do the 230 pack. In which you don't, no, this is a slippery slope. I take it back, but I'll say it anyway. But know that I changed my mind about thinking this. I was going to say they should still do the $230 one with no early access, but then they should just keep the $281 and give early access. And that way if anybody wants to play it early just so they can review bomb it, you're getting $50 off of their hatred. But what it turns into is now you have to pay $50 extra to get early access for 3 days. So I take it the fuck back.
There's a third factor that you don't know about.
Why do you keep it? Then I sound like an idiot.
No, I didn't know the reasoning. But the third factor is what I keep talking about, which is if you buy Ubisoft's subscription service, you get the best, you get the digital deluxe edition. So when Star Wars Outlaws came out, I downloaded it because I had that and I was able to play it 3 days early. And I got all of the season pass, pre-order bonuses, all that shit dues, for $7 a month from Ubisoft. And so like you don't have to pay $280. You could pay $7. And then if you take that away from me, well, I'm fucking canceling my
then
membership.
I don't need to pay your monthly blah, blah, blah.
As it is, like you only have to have like 2 or 3 games a year to make it worth $7 a month because, you know, that's like what?
The math.
$100 or something, and like otherwise, you know, that's 2 games. It's 2 full $60 games. So Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, and Star Wars Outlaws, I didn't have to pay for either one of those. That's worth the subscription to itself, right? But yeah, I think they really fucked themselves with this because the thing is that Ubisoft's stock has been dropping. I showed you the graph, showing everybody the graph. Outlaws didn't perform the way they wanted to. They pushed Shadows into next year, which further depressed their stock. So Ubisoft really needs to get their shit together. And like, I don't know if that means ignoring the people online that are dramatically upset for what I think is kind of a dumb reason. I don't care. Again, just make this very clear. I really don't care. But like, I do think it's kind of a dumb reason, but I also don't care. But
it's such a relatable feeling of like, no, I have to bring it up because it's stupid.
Right.
But also, I do not care.
I want to be making very clear how little I care about this.
I don't, but like, you have to know how stupid it is. But also, I don't care.
I was talking about how the last Assassin's Creed looked stupid for like 8 months. It looked like it looked like a bad video game, and then it came out and I was like, oh, it's even worse than I thought.
Ooh, rough.
But hey, let's motor through some of the rest of these before we take a break.
Motoring.
Hey, you know that Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown game?
Yeah.
Entire team was disbanded
Why?
because it didn't sell. Because
okay, did it sell poorly, or did it do the thing where they set too high of a standard and they thought if it's not game of the year, it's not worth it?
that one.
Fuck video game companies.
It sold 330,000 copies in like the first week or two that it was out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it sold. I was trying desperately to figure it out, but they don't post sales figures. It looks like it might have sold a grand total of about 1 million copies over the course of its lifetime, which I think for like a Prince of Persia, which hasn't been a franchise for a while now, like reboot in a new Metroidvania. I think that's great.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
But apparently this was in the works for a long time. The only reason that they didn't do it sooner was because they sold a season pass. They had to put out DLC to satisfy the season pass. So they kept that team together. And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the DLC came out.
Wow.
And there's one silver lining to this, and it is that they didn't fire them. They just redistributed these personnel to different teams instead of like they
just
disbanded
being
the
like
team.
goodbye forever. Okay,
Right.
That's not like the worst thing in the world, because if they, I don't know how it works, but I would assume that if they go, there's like a big online thing of everyone wanting to play a sequel to this.
Yeah.
You can literally just like yoink them out of those other teams and put them back together.
But it was they put
I mean,
it
it sounds stupid, but
they put it out at a really bad time. They put it out in like January, and I don't know. Like I really don't think that. Like I'm just wondering, guys. You realize that nobody cares about Prince of Persia right now. You have to develop buzz about Prince of Persia. You can't just throw out a new Prince of Persia game, which everybody scored very well.
Yeah.
And I had a good time when I played it. Like I didn't play all the way through it, but a good time while I was playing it.
Yeah, that was the one we played, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we had fun with that.
With the new one with the Prince with the Killmonger
Yeah.
haircut and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he was in the weird like we're trapped in this place and time means nothing.
Yeah.
It's like weirdness. I liked it. And apparently the French journalist who broke the story like interviewed a bunch of people who worked on it, and they were like, it was an amazing development team. It was like the exact opposite of everything else that's going on in Ubisoft, where people were like listened to and they had their time respected and all that stuff.
And they were like, if we separate them, now we don't have to do that.
Yep. What was the one quote here? One after the other, I was told it was seen as a beacon of hope to create a safe space for people that were burnt out by Beyond Good and Evil 2. The team has been disbanded by Ubisoft.
God. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Also, apparently,
maybe they didn't like the way they were functioning. You know what I mean?
Possible.
And it's just like a good excuse to.
I mean, the thing is that I just think that all Ubisoft really cares about is cash.
Yeah, the bottom line.
And like that's the problem with these things, is that like you could take that team, leave them together, and give them one more try, and it's possible that they might make Assassin's Creed 2, where the first Assassin's Creed was like okay, but it wasn't until 2 where it really took off. You learn the lessons from the first one, you go back and redevelop it, etc., etc. You get yourself an Assassin's Creed 2, on the top 50 of all time video game lists, but they're just like, did it make its money now? No. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, we're done. So, you know what? And with that, we're going to take a break because I can't squeeze any more stories in.
No more squeezing.
But we do have more Ubisoft bitching left to come. So stick around, everybody. And we'll be back in just a minute for more podcasts. And we're back.
Here we are.
Man, have you ever try to take a nap and it just goes wrong, where it's like,
Jeff, we were talking the whole break. Were you trying to nap while I was talking to you?
You can't fall asleep because Amanda keeps just talking to you the entire time.
Jesus Christ, with Amanda here.
Like I got 10 minutes between parts, and I'm just like, God damn it, woman, I'm trying to sleep. No, I tried to take a nap earlier today, and I think it did more harm than good.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Naps are real 50-50 for me.
Got real close to falling asleep and then just like didn't. And it's like, oh, fuck. Anyway, I'm sure that this horrible news will wake us up. So before we left, we were talking about the Prince of Persia team being disbanded.
Yes.
A lot of them have been pushed to different projects at Ubisoft, including apparently they're doing like some kind of Rayman remake with Michel Ancel, the guy that originally made Rayman, made the last one was Rayman Legends, I guess, was like the last one. But apparently he was let go because he was no good to work with, and he decided to create an animal sanctuary. And but now he's like back at a consulting role for their new Rayman. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in.
None of this seems like a good idea, Ubisoft. Like, none of it does.
I mean, sure.
And then, like, last on the, hey, what a bad idea do you have, Ubisoft? Ubisoft came out to confirm that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development.
Yeah. Is this one of those they've tanked too much money into it and they have to...
Well, okay, so it's like a beloved nostalgia franchise, but then like there was
Is this the one we saw that one trailer for like a hot minute ago?
Yes, but the thing is that there was the guy who was the head director, Emile Morel, died, and he was like 40. Like
so like fully shocking,
like very out of the blue, and it's possible that the slow development might have been because he had health problems, but we don't really know that. But it's kind of been in a little bit of limbo where Ubisoft will not say it's canceled, but we haven't seen anything for a long time.
Yeah.
And this last week they announced that there's a new creative director, this guy named Fawzi Mesmar.
Nice.
It sounds like a made-up person. Fawzi Mesmer.
I like that name, Fawzi.
The thing is that listen. Past performance does not necessarily predict future results.
He could learn his lesson.
However, the last several games that this guy was involved with were Star Wars Outlaws, which didn't actually sell very well.
But was it a good game?
I don't really know because I didn't play it because technically it had a bunch of problems, and I bought an $800 video card. It ran like ass on it, and I was like, no thank you.
Yeah.
So I will try it. Like, they also have a roadmap where they're like, we're going to do a bunch of work to try to make it better. And when that happens, I don't try it again until the roadmap is completed.
Yeah.
Not like after.
See you in 2025, baby.
Before that, apparently worked on the Beyond Good and Evil remake, which came out, the last Mario & Rabbids game. But then before that, Battlefield 2042, which had like, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it took years to fix. Before that, apparently he was with EA. Star Wars Battlefront 2, which single-handedly killed loot boxes and was one of the most hated video games and kind of cost EA the Star Wars franchise.
A murderer?
And before that, Battlefield 5, which traditionally or was the one where they had a trailer that had like a lady and like a person that had like a prosthetic arm, and the people got really mad about it because Battlefield traditionally has been more like realistically World War II, and they were like, what's up with this kind of fan casted thing?
Sure.
And then it didn't sell very well, but that was one of those ones where I think like EA came out and they were like, well, if you fucking internet assholes don't like it, you don't have to buy it. And then it sold really badly.
They're like, oh, we don't?
So
I love it.
The thing is, I don't really know how involved this guy has been in all of these, but like, this is not a great resume considering a lot of these were like either, hey, Mario Rabbids 2 was fine, but I'm sure it didn't sell like a gajillion dollars.
I don't know, man. Nintendo games are weird like that.
So I don't know.
I mean, it definitely doesn't spark any like optimism.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't like director on Outlaws, right? So he was involved with those games. I don't know to what extent. All I know is that, and again, I don't want to like, I don't have anything personally against this guy. It's just, here's a new developer. I've never heard of him before. Let me look up his resume.
But maybe if he's the one in charge, all of a sudden every issue we had with all those is not the issue because he wasn't the director of those. Or know.
Maybe he's learned from all of those past experiences.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
All I know is that like I mean,
I'd bet money it's not, but
Ubisoft has not had a good track record recently. So, the last game they had that was in development for 1 million years and then finally came out was Skull and Bones.
How often are, like, I don't know, if out of every 10 game that's trapped in development hell that gets out of it, how many are even good?
I'd have to look at a list.
Yeah.
Like, because one of the trailers that we have is for later on is for the Dead Island 2 collect like the full edition, right? 'Cause all the DLC is out. They just put out a multiplayer expansion. That game was in development hell for a long time, and then a studio came in and redid the entire game from scratch in like a year and a half, and it was dynamite. Like it was great. But on the other hand, Duke Nukem Forever was in development for a long time.
We don't talk about Duke Nukem Forever.
Sucked a bunch of assholes, but and Cyberpunk 2077 was in development for a long time and came out and sucked. But now, like after they finished working on it, they probably needed a year delay, but then they finished it. And when I played the finished version, I was like, this is one of the best games I've ever played. I'm glad I didn't waste my time on it before they finally finished it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say because there's no like pattern. It all just depends on the team and the development studio.
Sometimes it's a thing where like the longer you wait, it's just going to end up getting, chopped into Frankenstein from different developers and different people working on it. And so it's harder to like know it's going to be good. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Let's see from there. I kind of love this. So there was a developer called Fantastic. No, that's a Fantastic Four movie. Fantastic. And they were
fantastic.
They were a very sketchy developer that was creating this game called The Day Before that was like a multiplayer online zombie MMO shooter third-person action game.
Sure.
They put out a bunch of trailers. It was the most wishlisted game on Steam. It came out. It lasted for a week. They gave everybody refunds and fucking closed their company because it was so badly received. It was like the biggest bait and switch. And apparently there was some background where they were like getting fans in their Discord to then do work on the game and not paying them and then like berating them. And the whole thing was terrible.
Yeah.
They spent a full year in this drama where they didn't check whether The Day Before was a registered trademark.
Jesus Christ.
And there was a clock app out of like Indonesia or something that was like had that name, and it was for like, all digital products.
Yeah.
And so they ended up like having to fight over their own thing because they just didn't even check. So it was a total clown show. Well, then they came back a month ago and they did a Kickstarter for a new game.
Who the fuck is paying for their Kickstarter after all of that?
And it was called Escape Factory. And did
they make sure somebody else didn't,
it is Fall Guys with like this kind of factory motif and these little thumb looking guys.
I mean, they look like minions, but they made them flesh tone.
Yeah. And they did a Kickstarter where they were looking for, I think it was $20,000.
Yeah. How do I kickstart? Well, 20,000 isn't a crazy goal, but
between $10,000 and $20,000 to make this, they got 3,000.
Oh, sad.
So, and they said, I believe in their initial thing, they said, if this fails, we're just going to fucking close up shop and like go on our merry way. Well, they did not. Of course, Kickstarter refunded everybody because they didn't hit their goal.
Yeah.
They have a new game.
Good news, everyone.
Yeah, that they're now pimping, and it's basically called Items, or no, it's just called Items. And so that same team did a game called Prop Night that is like what they call a prop hunt game. Yeah,
where you become a prop and you have to hide. And
right.
It's like a Twitch game.
Yeah.
Like people like to play it on Twitch a lot.
Yeah. And so their next game that they're going to try to make is this game called Items. It has a press kit, which has this logo, and then like two T-posed renders of two characters without color, and that is L. And they've also put on their like,
I'm sold. What do they need? $1 million?
On their list where they say that they're going to make like mobile games to fund the development of this game. And I'm like, I can't look away. I can't look away from this car accident. Somebody should call the police. Like, this is amazing.
Won't somebody please help them?
Yeah, like this is a tweet underneath their announcement where somebody, Viking Nilsson, was said, "Are you fucking mad? If any people give these guys money, then they live in the same universe as unicorns. This is wild that you're actually taking further steps to make yet another game. This is what, the second or third title, and they're like, earn your money and then build the game instead of being like, we're going to announce this shit, with one logo in a font that is very much like the Fortnite font.
It is the Fortnite font.
It's just the word items in capital letters.
I'm sold. Items. I love items.
I'm going to make the best game.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the only game. So good to see that scamming is still alive and well in the video game
Hell yeah.
industry.
That raises an interesting thing I totally forgot about. Jeff and I are actually working on a game. It's called Fonts.
Yeah.
And you just type out words and hide amongst other words.
Your whole
We're
goal,
only asking for $750,000.
Your whole goal is to get the entire world to recognize Comic Sans as a default acceptable font.
Yeah.
We're going to put it on phones.
Yeah.
We're going to put it on billboards.
And
then,
if you want to cheat and use mods, that's how you get wingdings.
Yes. And then we're going to have the sequel, Papyrus. Yeah.
Times New Roman.
Times New Roman rules.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm a Helvetica man. I like me a good, nice Helvetica. Give me a good sans serif. I don't want serifs. I want fucking dangly bullshit on my fonts. Just give me the letters, motherfucker. Like,
I didn't know I was raising such a hot topic to you.
yeah. Let's see from there.
In the comments down below, let us know what your favorite font is.
What is your favorite font?
What's your favorite font? I don't know, man.
You don't have one?
I think I'm a Times New Roman girl, but that might just be from my school days.
Yeah.
I just like it to look clean and neat. I'm a big fan of clean and neat.
I use all of the RageSelect typing on the thumbnails is Futura.
Oh yeah,
which is a good, nice sans serif
yeah.
font.
Very, very good.
I miss when the internet when the internet was all Impact. Everything was Impact font on the internet. I loved that.
I like when people use Comic Sans because it upsets them.
Yes.
Like it upsets so many people. You guys get mad over the funniest things.
Yeah. Comic Sans. Well, speaking of people getting upset about stuff, I don't know anybody who got upset about this because nothing actually happened. So that's your segue. Netflix created a AAA game studio that was headed up by a former Blizzard dev, a former Bungie dev, and a Sony dev. It was like three big high talent people. They were going to make original games for Netflix. They called it was called the Blue Team, Team Blue.
Sure.
Not anymore. Everybody left. That team has been disbanded.
Sad.
There was not a single game that was put out. The end. Who would have guessed that some kind of stupid ass streaming platform that can't even get season 2 of a show that you want to watch is somehow not going to be able to have the fucking stamina for a 5-year game development cycle? Who could have guessed that their short term because Wednesday season 1 didn't do as many fucking concurrent users as they wanted. They were going to just take some of the best talent in the industry and flush it the fuck down the drain.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's no.
There's no details on this, only that the team has been disbanded.
Netflix doesn't give details about anything, so you'd be hard fucking pressed to find anything.
Well, I wasn't sure whether like the people that were there
interviewed or talked about it publicly
posted on their LinkedIn. LinkedIn is catty bitches on LinkedIn.
Oh,
man.
hell yeah. I'm not on LinkedIn.
But yeah, who could have seen it coming? Who? Let's see. We have actually a whole bunch of just industry. This week is it's not necessarily layoffs. It's not like the layoff parade, but there's a lot of disbanding and corporate ire and shit that's happening. So just gird your loins. This latest one is the studio Don't Nod. So they made, I think they made the original Life is Strange.
Okay.
They've made a few things since then. They made a game called Jusant. It was about climbing up a giant rock. It was like in a world that was like, it was a world that used to have an ocean that was now a desert, and you were trying to climb to the top of this big. It was all climbing. It was like and it was like 3 hours long, and it was on Game Pass, and I played it, and it was fine.
Yeah.
They also made a game called Banishers that was about like a husband that was like kind of a Celtic dude, and then his wife who's dead and is a ghost, and they're ghost hunters.
Oh,
you
yeah. Yeah. I remember. I don't think I played it with you, but I remember you talking to me about it. Yeah.
So those are the last 2 games they made, and they both were critically well regarded and didn't really sell very well.
Yeah.
Their their profits are down 11% this year, which is pretty big. And they are now planning a reorganization that could result in the layoff of up to 69 workers, which is not nice. Now, they are a French studio, and because they're a French studio, I don't know how much you know about French labor unions, but French labor unions... I
stay out of France's business, man.
They don't fuck around. French labor unions are just like...
Well, they're notorious... The French are notoriously good at uprisings.
Yes.
So I feel like it makes sense that they would have a lot of unions.
Yes. So they put out a statement about this that is relatively scathing. I'll read some quotes here. Quote, workers representatives at Don't Nod have been raising alarms for more than a year about the company's economic situation, which is the reason cited to justify the layoffs. Well, with this layoffs plan, they are creating an atmosphere of extreme violence. We're calling on all workers at Don't Nod to mobilize to save their jobs and working conditions.
Wait, hang on. Did you say extreme violence?
Yes.
Are they going to murder people?
What is this? Oh, that was from the CEO. So anyway, it was interesting because, again, I don't know if this is something. I think this is one of those things where you feel it, but then like you hear it put into words, and you're like, "Oh, right, that's actually correct." I had an idea. I didn't actually think about it. So the games that Don't Nod put out, the last few games they put out, are critically well received and did not sell very well. And then their labor union is like, so this is management's problem. The workers made wonderful games. They made exactly what they were told to in a very good way.
Yeah.
But if management comes up with a stupid idea that's not going to sell very well, it doesn't matter how well we make it, it's not going to sell very well.
Or market it. Like, if they chose not to market it that much.
Yes.
Because I'm not like on the pulse entirely, but I've only had the faint idea of these games, and that's only because you knew about these games.
Yep. But it was interesting to think about that being the scenario. If you get a game that is critically reviewed very well, but then doesn't sell very well, that's an upper level problem, not a worker's problem. The workers are making really good sandwiches. It's just not my fault if all you put on the menu was a tongue and olive sandwich on fucking jalapeno ciabatta.
Yeah.
Like,
that sounds amazing. What do you...
Well, maybe you should move to France. And I guess we'll see, because their next game is what the fuck is Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which is like...
Oh, I think I remember that trailer for that one.
It's like 4 teenage girls in like the 80s that are in like a 90s that are in a band. There's another one. There's the one that's being made by the people that made the Artful Escape, that's more of a little bit more surreal, that's about a group of friends in the 90s. But this one is a lot more... This one just looks a lot like a Life is Strange game.
It does,
And so I think that the idea is that they can't use Life is Strange because another studio is working on that. Deck 9 has that right now. But a question occurs. This is another one of those weird questions. I don't know where my mind is on this, of like, does this sell anymore? Like, Life is Strange, when it came out, was kind of an interesting and shocking, like a new thing.
You hadn't seen it before, but this is a little...
And you had a lot of gamers that weren't necessarily represented that were like, oh, I like this, I'm going to buy it. But now it's become kind of a genre, and so you can't do it. You can't do the same thing over and over and over again and keep getting the same results. So...
I don't know. This one looks cool though.
It does. I think the other
one... And if
I
recall, the soundtrack for the trailer was good too.
What's the other one called? Artful. Let's look at Artful Escape. What's the name of this company is Beethoven and Dinosaur.
Oh yeah, I do remember the trailer for this one too.
And then this one is called Mixtape that's coming out next year. And this one has like this kind of It's got a little bit more. It looks somewhat similar, but I think that Bloom and Rage has like a kind of a we found a meteor in the woods that gave us powers type of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And this is more of a like, but last summer in 1993, me and my friends, we did it was the best times of my life, and we were hanging out and doing stuff.
Yeah, one's definitely like also a Life is Strange lookalike, and this one it has like a telltale-y...
It feels more like the Artful Escape, more surreal. There's kind of a little bit more like a Wes Anderson game or something.
Yeah. Similar vibes. You definitely get them both in the same section of your Blockbuster video, but like... well, because they both look like movies to me. Like they both and on all honesty, I feel like I would rather watch movies of this. You're going to lose me. They got Smashing Pumpkins in there. I'm not going to waste my time listening to that.
But it's also got other stuff, too.
Ugh, Billy Corgan.
Hey, man, I hate Billy Corgan just as much as the next guy, but, like, there's also some other good stuff in there.
That's true.
But I don't know. This one just looks like it's like they're going a little bit more nuts.
Yeah.
And I like the previous game of being this kind of just crazy.
It could also just be a good double feature of game.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like it happens all the time where you just play one and then you play something that's very much like it.
Yeah.
If you like this game, you'll like this other game. And it, yes.
Yep. That's also Annapurna Interactive. We had that whole thing with them, so who knows whether it's actually going to come out.
Oh, no. Sad.
Let's see. Hi-Rez Studios, the makers of Smite 2, the game, the Gods MMO that came out. They just recently announced that they were doing kind of reorganization and some layoffs. But we got the news this week that they're actually shutting down 2 of their other games. I'd kind of forgotten some of these, but in order to basically focus all their attention on Smite 2 to try to make it basically like as popular as the first one. The 2 games, one is called Divine Knockout, and I had actually never played this one. This is basically like a spin-off that's 3D Smash Brothers, where you're just trying to like hit the characters out of a ring. It looks very cheap. Like it does not look like a very well produced game.
It looks fine.
The other one was Realm Royale. I remember really liking Realm Royale for a little while. This was essentially Overwatch. Or no.
No,
This is
Fortnite. Yeah,
Fortnite.
This is a Fortnite clone, baby.
This is a different game than the one I was talking about.
Yeah. Honestly, whenever I hear Royale, I just assume that
it's a Fortnite.
It's a Fortnite thing.
I thought that there was another game that was called that. Anyway, I don't know. Oh no, I'm thinking of Paladins. I'm thinking of an entirely different game. The characters look somewhat similar.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a battle royale game, which I'm sure has very few players because it just looks like a cheaper version of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like it just looks like Fortnite, but not as good. So
these all look kind of like mobile games to me.
Yeah.
Just like a little better looking. You know what I mean? Like they function nicer, but they look like what mobile games look like.
Yeah. So yeah, they're basically both going to be taken offline, and they're going to focus on Smite 2 instead. I wonder to myself whether whether Smite 2 will end up succeeding at all, or whether just the whole company will end up folding at some point, because the games that apparently they want to make are not, is MOBAs, Smash clones, and Battle Royale games. And it's like, you guys they're really heavy hitters in these spaces. And like Smite had its own identity, but I don't know if you're going to be able to get people to move to a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, it might have been better just to keep working on the first one. But it also could be the sort of thing where they were seeing lower and lower sales for all the stuff that they put out. And it's just like a
sometimes you see like the behind the scenes and you go, okay, now's the time to come up with the new one to kind of gain that.
Yep. Let's see. From there, NCSoft is also has an undisclosed number of layoffs that are about to happen. They are.
Is this a quarter thing? Are we in the like quarter in which they're firing people to make something?
March, May, June, July, September, October, November. Not really.
Okay.
I think it's just
because usually when we start seeing these like all back to back, it's like, oh, somebody has like a shareholders meeting coming on.
I think that a lot of I don't know. It's possible because this isn't like we had a French company. This is a Korean company. That it could be the other markets also have a different like rhythm.
Yeah, that's right.
Than the American markets. But they basically because they have. Better labor laws than we do. They have to like pre-announce that there's going to be a reorganization, not just a like you're fired, get the fuck out of here, like kind of thing. So
somebody's got a case of the Mondays. You're fired. Whoa.
The big thing for NCSoft right now is a game called Throne and Liberty that just launched. It's like a free-to-play kind of MMO that apparently is doing relatively well. They also have, I think they still have like Guild Wars working on there. So unclear how many people are going to be left or what the overall plan is, but it's going to happen. So
just once, I want them to announce layoffs and it's like 2 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've actually seen a couple of that with like sub 10 people on micro teams where it's like, this is a team of like 30 people and we had to lay off 9.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
that would still be devastating. Yeah, that would be devastating for a small team. For sure.
Let's see. Here's a kind of another weird lateral move. So apparently, when Bungie did their layoffs, there was like 155. 155 roles from Bungie that were getting moved because it was like 200 and change people that got laid off, but 155 of those were like moving to PlayStation. So because PlayStation bought Bungie, they were taking like some actually talented people into new teams, and then
some like actually talented people.
Yeah.
Not like the rest of the people.
Or they were taking the most talented people.
They were, selecting people that they felt would be good fits in other teams.
Yes. And so this week there was an announcement on LinkedIn from one of their creative directors that basically...
Dang, LinkedIn be popping lately.
that they're taking the team, they're taking a chunk, 75 people, and making an internal team inside of Sony to do product development because... part of the team that was let go from Bungie was a development team that was creating new projects, and they were like, no new projects for you. You guys concentrate on making Destiny profitable, and then maybe you can start thinking about new projects.
That's kind of fair.
So they took a bunch of people that were working on those Skunkworks teams and then brought them internal to Sony to be like, we want you to make something for us, which like is probably one of the better results.
I mean, honestly, if nobody's losing their job and they're still working on stuff, I'm pretty hyped.
The only thing is that like the last internal team that Sony, I wonder what the culture inside of Sony is, because the last team that Sony purchased internally and then let do whatever they wanted to made Concord. There's a possibility they might be on a real fucking short leash.
Yeah. In fairness, though, I'm not certain that any of these companies have a good environment to be in.
No.
I
also think that the entire entertainment industry is kind of going through a reckoning of like, we've been doing the same thing for 10 years and it's made us a shitload of money and we're still doing the same thing. Why is the money drying up? And it's like, because we're all fucking tired of it. We want you to come up with new shit, not just do the same shit over and over and over again. Not just make a third crappy Venom movie. You made 2 crappy Venom movies, and now you're making a third crappy Venom movie, and I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. There's a horse in it. I went to the theater and they had the like.
Jeff is nothing if not a horse girl.
It's true. Venom. There's a Venom horse. Okay, I'm going to
like
watch.
A very specific checklist, and it's Venom and horse Venom.
It's got Tom Hardy, crappy Venom, and a horse. I'm going to watch it, but you can't be mad after fucking Morbius and
oh my god.
Madam Web.
Did Kraven the Hunter come out?
No.
Okay.
That's still in development, I think. You can't be mad when you make a third crappy Spider-Man movie and it's just Jeff in the theater. I'm dedicated to crappy Venom. I'm mad. I was so mad at the end of that Spider-Man movie that they wrote crappy Venom out of the MCU.
Yeah.
He should have been the sixth guy in the Sinister Six because he wouldn't have had any idea what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah.
And it would have been amazing if we had.
But then how do you resolve that conflict?
Well, the Sinister Six will just tell him that Spider-Man is bad.
And then he'd be like, okay.
And then eventually he meets the Spider-Man and he's just like, oh, they're not bad. I just want to get...
He could still. They just announced a fourth Spider-Man movie.
I talked to the oldest Spider-Man, and he seems like he's kind of cool. Like he's the shittiest Venom.
Yeah,
I love it so much. So, anyway, sorry, but shitty Venom fan fiction.
Yes. Do you guys want to know the website that he posts his shitty Venom fan fiction, or do you want to find it on your own? Because
it's not erotic, by the way. It's just what.
But there is a horse.
There is a horse, though. All right, sorry, we can't keep on going down this road. Let's see. We got a little bit of an interview with Bloober Team. This was a very light news week. So last week, Bloober Team announced a new game called Chronos: The New Dawn.
Yes, I saw the trailer for this.
Did you?
Yeah, and what
did you think?
It looked okay. One, I don't like anybody using the name Kronos because it just makes me think of the
Titan
Guillermo del Toro movie Kronos.
Oh.
Two, I think that helmet looks like a butt. I can't. The whole time I was like, that looks like a butt. It looks like he's gonna talk in the game and it's just gonna be.
It's so big that for me it kind of reminded me of the big rhino guys in Doctor Who go go like because it's this giant kind of oversized
I also
helmet.
see the giant bug that's scared in Desire to Know More. Do you want to know more? What's that?
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
The brain bug, the one that's afraid.
Yeah, like they had the butt face too.
Yeah. So apparently, in this interview, they talked about how, and I kind of feel bad for them. I didn't like a lot of Bloober Team stuff. I think that the Resident Evil 2, or the Silent Hill 2 remake was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it was good.
Yeah.
And after a long stint of not liking their games, I don't want to dislike
broken
games.
clock is right at least twice a day.
Yep.
So maybe this will be the second one.
Well, maybe, but it's interesting because they talked about how basically in this interview, they talked about how it was very difficult making the Silent Hill 2 remake because they basically spent 4 years having to have people on the internet go, them? Fuck them. I hate them.
Yeah.
And how dare anybody ever even consider remaking Silent Hill 2? It's going to be trash. It's going to be trash. Look at this. Look at the patch on the side of his jacket on this one screenshot. It's going to be garbage. And then it came out and everybody was like, it's actually good. And they were like,
and it's not satisfying to have that.
Well, the thing is,
y'all don't have enough haters if you're worried about your haters.
He also talks about how the team, they couldn't talk about anything, and there was a few times during the Silent Hill 2 development
they were mad that they couldn't go, nuh-uh, it's gonna be good, I promise.
Where Konami was the one that was cutting their trailers. So they didn't even have any control over the marketing.
Yeah.
So people would see a trailer that they didn't like where Konami had cut something in an awkward fashion. They would then at Bloober Team, and Bloober Team was like, oh, I already know. We've already fucking fixed that.
Yeah.
And apparently it was both difficult, but it also, I think it just kept them all eternally pissed off and ready to make them eat crow.
Yeah.
Of just I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna fucking.
You guys heard it here first. Bullying works.
And so they talked about how this new game, a lot of it came out of making a real-time action game as opposed to a psychological horror game like the ones they made previously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if that's what it took, good job, because that new game
Sometimes things just need to click.
looks cool.
Yeah, I think it looks good, but I want to see more gameplay than what I got in that trailer.
And I didn't know this last week because I just saw it on the thing, but also there was like a synopsis, and I think it sounds interesting. Players will take on the role of Traveler, an agent of the enigmatic collective with a mission to extract selected people who didn't survive the apocalypse from the past. To complete the collective's mission, players will need to survive a deadly wasteland created by a cataclysmic event known as the Change, filled with monstrous abominations that will challenge players' combat abilities. I'm
Nice.
like, great, sounds great.
Yeah, man.
Like, I think that putting combat into a horror game is great because it gives you agency, but you can also make it difficult so that you are, you're playing with deprivation, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't give me enough bullets to deal with everything.
Yeah.
And it makes it even scarier because I have to make a decision about running or, I've only got one health kit left. I don't know if I can go through this part type of thing. So.
I mean, I like the design of the monster.
Yeah.
The like lady that you see in the beginning and then you see her again and she's all
Well, and then also the weird kind of like Cronenberg-y,
the thingy kind of, yeah.
I liked what they put out there, and I hope to enjoy the whole game.
Yeah,
so.
I'm interested for sure.
Starting to run a little.
Oops. Us running late?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't believe it.
World of Warcraft players are mad.
Yeah.
They are mad because apparently
Mad as in insane or mad as in unhappy?
Mad as in very unhappy. So apparently, okay, this is a graph that you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
This is a graph of DPSs. Like, so each one of these is a class in the game, and this is how much DPS they put out. Anything that's got a green on it is being buffed in the next patch. Anything that is red is being nerfed in the next patch.
Yeah, this is a lot of stripes.
It is.
Yeah.
Basically, what's happening is apparently Blizzard is nerfing some classes that are already like low on the DPS scale, which means that people that play those characters find it incredibly difficult to get into a group because if you want a DPS, you're going to pick one of the classes that is traditionally known as like having more damage output, not somebody down here, especially if you don't know them, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea of taking one of these classes that is already not very well, that is further down this list, and then like making it even weaker than it already is making people upset because they're like, we want everything to be viable so that people don't just cherry pick 3 classes for every party that they put together.
Yeah.
And apparently the way that they are voicing their displeasure is by just putting the word protest into their looking for group message.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I didn't know people still played. I mean, I assumed, but like,
It's
one of those things I always hear about people playing.
Yep.
But I never know anybody.
They just put out a big new expansion. And actually, I was reading that Jason Schreier's book on Blizzard, and World of Warcraft, like, it doesn't do the numbers that it used to, but it still does a shitload of numbers.
Yeah. Well, shit, there's people that are like born and raised into the game at this point.
Yep, pretty much.
I know people whose, well, I don't know them, but I know people whose parents' marriages were destroyed by World of Warcraft.
Yep.
And it's like, why is it so many people have the same story?
Yeah, when I was younger, I had there was a friend of mine that was dating this girl that I really liked that I had a crush on for a long time, and apparently it was one of those things where I was a friend, I was the friend to talk to about the relationship, and she's just like, he won't have sex with me. He just wants to play that fucking stupid Warcraft game. And I was like,
I'll have sex with you.
Great. This is what I needed to hear right now. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Huzzah. And that's why Jeff doesn't play MMOs.
Because he wants to bang women.
Bang!
And Venom.
And Venom, yes. All right, let's go pretty quick through some of these. Fallout London has just come out with a suggestion for ways to get past. There was a bug when you got in the train, you remember at the very beginning?
Yeah.
And you come back out into the city. A lot of people, the game just like perma crashes there and will not get past that.
Oh.
And apparently it's an AMD thing, but they have now put out the suggestion of installing, there's a specific mod that they have on their website. I can't find it in here.
Is this the thing that we had an issue with, or is this a different thing?
This is a different thing.
Okay.
They've been working on fixing the patches, or on patching the bugs on it, but there's still, this one's a difficult one. Apparently, it's mainly a problem for AMD users. And so there's an AMD patch that you can get that will cause the renderer to change at some point to just get past that part.
Huh.
But the other thing that we found for Fallout, because it was Fallout Day recently, which is the day when the bombs drop in the Fallout universe.
Yeah. So does that mean we're all dead?
No, it's like 2077 when it happens.
Oh, sweet. So we'll be dead.
Yes.
Nice.
They announced that that the game has been redeemed over 1 million times on GOG, which means that it's like one of the most like ingested thing, because it's not a sale, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't count any other platforms, so that it's like at least over 1 million, which again, I said it when we were talking about Fallout London before, but like, why doesn't Bethesda fucking cut these guys a check and bring them on board, like, and let them make this official and sell it for $60?
Yeah, I mean, even with all the bugs when we struggled through, we got it going, and it was fun. Like, we had a good time.
Yeah, it was interesting and different, and obviously a lot of creativity from a team of dedicated people who like the game.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. And there was a dog, and it was an English bulldog.
That was correct.
And that really is all I needed.
The God of War TV show is rebooting. Apparently, Amazon bought the rights to make a God of War TV show, and it was the like.
Was there already a God of War TV show?
No.
Oh, so when you said rebooting.
Well, so it's been in development since 2022. The showrunner was a guy named Rafe Judkins, and then there was like executive producer and 2 executive producers, and they were working on it. And apparently, according to Variety, last week they all fucking left, and so the whole thing is basically being restarted with like they don't even have people yet.
Yeah, they're just like from scratch. We want to make it a TV show. We're gonna start building our crew.
So they're gonna kind of start over from scratch. So any momentum that they had, I mean, they probably have like production stuff that they can still use, but like the creative process will have to kind of start over.
Like the story wrote itself on account of it being a video game that already exists.
Yeah, the main thing is apparently they had a script treatment where the trick is because they're doing the Dad of War, not OG God of War.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be able to have my dad watch that and not have to know who Kratos is, whereas in the game they're, you know, it's a little bit more like you're catering more to people who probably have played the game as opposed to people that are starting over from scratch. So, and like when it goes to that,
all I'm saying is the original Hercules television series, he was already a hero by the first episode, and that if you can make it work with that shit-ass Kevin Sorbo TV show, then you can make it work with this. Also, I'm assuming it's going to be like Hercules.
So the main thing is that I agree with you. It should write itself. It's what if a Greek god was living in Norse mythology, and
because
there was a showdown.
The whole point is that he's like a warrior who has past battles.
Right.
Like you don't necessarily have to get in depth into the god thing.
Yeah.
Unless you really want to get in depth into the previous gods thing.
Right. So, but on the other hand, I can't count over the last 3 years the number of like slam dunks of a story where it's like, how did you fuck this up? How did you fuck this up? The story writes itself.
Yeah.
You have to go out of your way to make this more complicated. Why are you focusing on this person? This is the wrong person to be focusing on. The story is about person X. Like, anyway, so I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have hope because we're getting better video game adaptations, and hopefully that trend will continue. I really just wish that they would take all of the assets that they've been spending on superhero movies and start putting them into video game TV shows, because people are kind of sick of superheroes. But we're just getting started with fucking video games. You know how many fucking video games there are that you have not even yet begun to mess with? Like,
when am I getting my Pac-Man television series, guys? Come on.
That's a good question. Okay. Katsura Hashino, the guy who made the Metaphor ReFantasio game that I really liked, apparently is already like in his head working on the next game. The game's been out for like a week and a half.
He's like, I've been there, done that.
And
Time
he was
to
asked
move
in
on.
an interview, and he basically he said, "Yeah, I've got a kind of an inkling, and I want to start talking with the team because he's not an auteur who just like tells everybody what to do. He has a team that he develops with. So
nice.
Yeah, seems like a cool guy. I'm really enjoying that game. I wish I was playing it right now.
It's so wow. I'm right here. What the fuck? It's so funny. John was like, "There's this game," and like he started like getting in on it, and I'm like, "What's it called?" And then he said it, and I was like, "Oh, Jeff won't shut up about it."
Yep.
And he's like, "What?"
There's a bat guy. Do you know about the bat guy?
No. Batman?
No. I think you would like him. Bat. No, not battle theme. Oh, wait. I just typed in the word metaphor. I typed in metaphor bat. I need to put Refantasio in there because just putting in metaphor bat doesn't
give you exactly what you want.
What's his name? This guy.
Oh, cutie patootie.
Yep. They're called the UGF, and they're like he's like a little bat ninja.
Cute.
That joins up with your guy. Also, this boss is directly from a painting. Like it's that painting of like the hells that has all the people like writhing around and stuff, and it's like one of those really, I forget the actual painting, but like this boss is in that painting, and then he comes out as like the first boss.
That's
in the game.
amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, I think that we're gonna have to wrap it up, and then we'll just put one of these in the next segment.
Sure.
Nintendo put out a call a little while back for people to sign up for a quote-unquote mystery thing that they were doing, a play test for a property that they were working on. This filled up immediately.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what it was because they were very sparse on details. Apparently, Nintendo is trying to make an MMO. Because obviously they put people out there, or they let people in, and they immediately started taking pictures of it and putting it online.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, they're taking them down.
Oh, they're taking them down. Let's see if I can find one of the other ones.
I'm guessing you won't.
Maybe.
Nobody thought to screenshot their screenshots?
Here, what about this one? I think this is the one I looked at before. So it's like a Minecraft game where you play as little like Fall Guys looking guys.
Yeah,
obviously this is all like placeholder stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say those look like they're not gonna be the end.
But part of it seems like it's like a cooperative building game where you're like sectioning out a portion of land, and then you're like putting stuff, you're bringing in resources, and you're like building stuff.
Yeah.
It basically kind of looks like Minecraft, but like with maybe some of that Nintendo flair to it.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh man, what were they called? The Mii's.
Yeah,
like doing a thing.
It's very like early days and rough, right?
Yeah.
But it's an interesting idea to be like, so you're working on an MMO in the year 2024, Nintendo. It's a bold move, Cotton.
I don't know, man. I am a proponent of like, if you make a good game and you give people access to it and let them know it exists.
Yeah.
If it's a good game, people will play it.
People will play it.
People don't care.
It's true.
Like, yeah. You put a banging soundtrack on it.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know, maybe does it end up being, could it be like a Super Mario MMO? Like
I'm wondering if
Mushroom
it's
Kingdom MMO.
Well, because they're like Mario Builder games, like make your own level and whatever, are so popular, and I wonder if they're trying to do a big
with
version
the blocks,
of that.
it could be like,
because Minecraft people do it all the time, where they put together like games inside the game and they build it with a team, and then you can release the world out to people so that they can play their little
if you think about like
gamey games.
You don't even have to like download it. It's just in a shared world where you go over to so and so's
just visit
Mario 3D level like and then just play it.
Yeah,
that could be interesting. Could be interesting.
Yeah.
With that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. We come back. We have trailers, so stick around, and we will see you in a minute.
Yay.
And we got trailers, but before we get to those, we just have a couple of very quick stories. Last week, we got the first trailer for FBC Firebreak, the 3-player online control shooter, which I'm still a little weird about just because the characters look a little strange.
I told John that if it wasn't a Remedy game, I don't know if I'd bother with it. Like, if it wasn't connected to all the things I know and love, would I want to play
like
this
if you just
game?
saw that and you didn't see like the hiss and the oldest house and stuff, well, we got the news this week that that game is going to be launching on both Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus when it launches.
Nice. So there's no reason not to play it.
Yeah, which will probably be a good move for them because they'll get a bunch of subsidies from both those companies, and then also they will get a good bump in player base to start out with. So
nice.
I don't know. Hoping it's good. Apparently there's some stuff in that new Alan Wake DLC that is also interesting, but I'm not going to talk about it because
don't spoil it. We haven't played it yet. Or have we? We haven't. It's not out yet. We haven't.
Actually, it's already out. It was out like yesterday.
Oh, that's right. John's playing it right now.
I held on to it because if I'm going to play,
if you played it with anybody else, I'd murder you in your sleep.
There you go. That's the reason.
That one.
Let's see. We also got the news last week, speaking of PlayStation, that Spider-Man 2 will not have any story DLC. This had not been announced, but there was like some rumblings in the big leak. There was a big Insomniac hack that happened that there might be DLC for Spider-Man 2, but apparently no. And this has apparently also brought up a bunch of old bad feelings from people who... There was a weird undercurrent on the internet last year that Spider-Man 2 was bad.
Really?
Because it didn't change enough from the first one, and it was like about the same length. It wasn't longer, and there wasn't like more different stuff. I thought it was fine personally, but
Michael is my litmus test for Spider-Man games, and he enjoyed it.
Yes.
So I trust him.
Yep. Also, in probably the shortest turnaround possible, we got the announcement trailer this week that Spider-Man 2 is coming to the PC.
Nice.
So that Spider-Man 2 came out like September or something last year, and it is coming to the PC January of this year. Also, it's going to have that dumb PSN login requirement on the PC
Lord.
because Sony apparently just can't back down off of that idea.
It tickles them, and they want it to happen.
Yep. I don't know though. Watch this trailer. I was like, oh yeah, I really enjoyed that game. Like I thought it was fun. There was one Mysterio challenge I think that was a bitch, but other than that, like I thought it was fine. And I liked the fact that it was only like 15 to 20 hours. I was like, yeah, this is fine. I have no problem with this.
A game I can play and enjoy over the weekend and not feel like my whole life is dedicated to it for a while.
Yeah. So, yep. And it looks really good on the PC because they've gotten a lot better at doing that. So
nice.
There you go. Let's see. From there, we got yet another No Man's Sky expansion.
Oh, they're still doing those?
Yep. This one is basically a kind of a themed expansion called The Cursed, where there's like ghosts of like aliens.
Spooky.
That are showing up. There's like it's a time limited thing. It's like 2 weeks. And there's like some boss fights. And there's like a kind of a new Giger inspired ship that kind of looks like the ship from Alien.
Nice.
And there's some cosmetics that you can get that make your character look like they have kind of like a Cthulhu head, which is kind of interesting.
Nice.
So with like kind of a chitinous backpack and stuff too. It's nice to see that No Man's Sky is still trucking along.
Yeah, good for them.
Even with all the seasonal spooky stuff that's coming out, you know, they're kind of throwing their hat in the ring as well.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Yep, it's good. Let's see.
Timed exclusive stuff is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Or like timed event stuff is sort of fun.
Speaking of spooky stuff, we got the launch trailer for Amanda the Adventurer 2.
I'm Amanda the Adventurer.
This is one of the shortest trailers I've ever seen in my life. It's like 40 seconds long. I think
they're like spooky and then move on.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a very quick montage after just a little bit of Amanda talking. I don't know. I feel like I almost feel like I need to go back and
Play the first one again?
Finish the first one because we never finished it.
Turns out we weren't good at it.
Yeah. The second one takes place in like a library, I guess, instead of like the attic. But I don't know if it's the same
like idea.
Main character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's already out. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. We also got the release trailer for Puppet House. I'm very torn on this one. It's like a first person kind of like you're like a private investigator trying to figure out what happened in this house. And then there's like a little like a wooden marionette, or not marionette, but like a wooden like hand puppet. Like
yeah, that's a marionette.
That's like running around, chasing you.
He's got no strings. It's a Pinocchio.
But it's funny because they show a bunch of
fucking freaky ass.
It's kind of a big puppet too, right?
Yeah, he is taller than Chucky.
But like in this trailer at the very end, I think there's a part where the guy just kicks the puppet.
Get
and
that
I'm
little
like,
fucker out of here.
And I'm like, this intrigues me because this is kind of like. The size of this puppet is not, it's like a Chucky size.
Yeah.
A little bigger than a Chucky size, right? But it's also made out of wood. And like you can hear it coming from a mile away.
Yeah, it's just like little bone rattling noise.
So I like the idea of like, there's a lot of in this trailer where it seems like it's just the main character and the puppet kind of looking at each other. And I'm like, yeah, because I could take that puppet. Like I could.
Yeah.
I could.
I'm gonna punch that puppet.
I'm gonna punch the shit out of that puppet.
Yeah, I'm gonna stomp that puppet to the ground.
It's got a giant fucking head. I'm gonna get like a shovel.
Yeah.
And just wang.
It's super top heavy. It's no wonder that he could just kick it and the whole thing tips over.
Yeah, it's got little spindly wooden legs and shit. I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know if this one's gonna make it all the way.
I think it'll be worth it if that puppet is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's where it's kind of funny but also scary, and you like feel like an asshole when you get got by the fucking puppet.
Yeah, but it's also not like super murderous. Like it's kind of murderous. What if it's all just a misunderstanding and like the puppet comes to life and he just immediately kicks it? The puppet's like, "Fucking don't kick me! You kick me, I'm gonna stab you." So,
I love it.
It's interesting though.
Personal vendetta with a marionette.
Yep. We also got the launch trailer for Sphere the Spotlight, which is that the first of the Blumhouse games with this kind of. This is the one that actually was out previously and got delisted.
That's right, yeah.
And then revamped and then put back out. And apparently it's getting good reviews. It looks like it's got a kind of a puzzly thing. I will say, I would like to say this. I was reading a review of it, and apparently... so you know what? If you don't want to know anything about this, just skip forward like 30 seconds. But I feel like this is a thing that like I would want to know.
Yeah.
Apparently the main, there's like a new game plus when you beat the main game, which is relatively short. And the new game plus is like the best part of the game. And it's kind of a bold strategy to put like the lesser of the two modes as the thing you have to play all the way through to get to like the really interesting stuff.
But if it's like a short game,
yes,
then it's not like crazy. It's not like they're like play 100 hours and then play another 100 hours.
It's not like Nier Automata or anything.
Yeah,
but I think it looks really good. I gotta say I've really been enjoying all of the PS1 style throwback horror. I think it really works well.
Horror has a tendency to less is more. Always really works better for it.
Yeah.
In movies and television shows and video games, it makes sense that like going retro would make it an enjoyable thing.
I think it's harder to make 16-bit stuff scary. And I think that there's something fundamentally disturbing about the kind of janky low resolution of the PSX era, where like PS2 games can look very good, but you've got this kind of simplistic representation and the characters are a little stiff and stuff, and it all kind of lends an eerie air to anything that you're going to do. So
100%.
Yep. Let's see. We also have the launch trailer for Retro Realms, Halloween, and Ash vs. the Evil Dead. By the time this comes out, there will already be a dojo for this. This is the double feature of 16-bit action games where you can play as Michael Myers or as Ashley Williams. But then they also have
Ashy Slashy,
Laurie Strode and one of Ash's Kimberly or something like that, like DLC. And then if you buy this as a double pack, then you can even play as Ash in the Halloween game and as Michael Myers
that's
in
fun.
the Ash game.
Oh, I like that.
Because they're semi-generic. It seems like a pretty cool thing. And it also is interesting for people who don't know or didn't watch the dojo, where it's all in like an abandoned like pizza arcade. And then you get like tickets in the game that you can use to then unlock like little souvenir renders of stuff from Evil Dead and Halloween that you can look at in a little museum and stuff. So
that's cool.
There's like a good reason to keep playing the game. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Bruce Campbell.
We also got the launch trailer for the Arizona Sunshine remake.
Oh, nice.
I really like Arizona Sunshine, and I will keep flogging it as basically like it's a really fun zombie.
Played it on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, if I recall.
That was the second one.
Yeah.
After I got my PSVR 2.
Yeah, we just hung out while you try to murder zombies and talk shit about you while you try to murder zombies.
We were playing the Horde mode.
Yeah, that was fun.
We watched New Year's Evil.
Yeah. Dude, that was probably one of the best New Year's I had in a long time.
Good. Anytime people want to come watch me play video games and get drunk and then watch a shitty movie, I can handle that.
Yeah.
I don't have to leave the house.
Bring beer next time.
It's just so funny that like we did all of that and it was probably all like hashtag content and I didn't record. It was like,
That's what made it fun is that we were like, it was, a recording without recording. No offense, guys. We like it when you're here, but it's nice to just not be thinking about, are you sitting close enough to the microphone? And
they also added a multiplayer mode for this, so you can play with friends.
Nice. I don't have any friends.
And also, I think that this is either a free or very low cost upgrade to the original if you have it. So
yeah,
I think it's free. It might be $10, but I can't remember.
I mean, $10 isn't that bad for.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of remasters, we also got a new trailer for the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remaster.
Soul Reaver.
Showing off a bunch of the bosses and how they've how much better they look in the remaster, which they do look significantly better. This has never been like my favorite franchise in the world. Some people really, really like these games.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. Coming out December 10th.
I only remember the cover of the game.
Oh, with
walking
Raziel.
through a freaking Blockbuster or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Chilling at a Best Buy. I remember the cover, but I don't remember ever playing this game.
It's so weird because it's a vampire game.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a bottom of his. He doesn't have his mouth.
Yeah,
right?
if I remember correctly, the whole plot of the game is that he mutates wings. And he's the first vampire to ever do that. And so Kain, the head vampire, becomes like jealous that he's done that. And he doesn't want another vampire to be more powerful than him. So he rips off his bottom jaw and breaks his wings and throws him into this like dungeon labyrinth. And that's where the game takes place. So this isn't like a cloak back here. These are like the ragged wings. And then when he pulls down his little thing, he only has a top jaw with the vampire teeth. Anyway.
So does he talk with a lisp?
I think he talks. I don't know.
Was this the time of our heroes don't speak?
Or there's just like a text box at the bottom and we don't know what they sound like?
Yeah.
No idea. As previously mentioned, we got the launch trailer for the Dead Island 2 Ultimate Edition. So that's the main game along with the 2 DLCs. One where you go to the creepy house where it's like a rich people... latex crazy party thing.
It was a BDSM party, baby.
Yep. And then the other one is like a music festival.
That's like all kinds of violations if you think about it. It's just like getting attacked by somebody in a gimp suit.
Yep.
It's just
and then they also added in the new multiplayer mode where it's like a horde mode where you and 3 other people like are trying to defend against zombies. So you're like scavenging during the day and setting up defenses then at night. But
nice.
It's still like free. I think this game is amazing and I think everybody should play it because I was very like pessimistic about it and then it surprised the shit out of me when it came out. So, yep. Let's see. After that, we got the launch trailer for Kong Survival Instinct.
Are we Kong in this game?
No.
Then what's the point?
This is a strange game because you play as like a guy that's looking for his wife or daughter or something.
Yeah.
And so he goes out into the world, and it's like a side-scrolling adventure platformer game where you play as a guy doing kind of traversal puzzles and stuff, and with some action.
I was not expecting this to be a side-scrolling game.
Yeah, but then in the background,
Do you know what this is?
What's that?
It's the Universal Studios tour when they would have the King Kong just holding the bridge you're driving over. Because that's very side-scrolling, where it's like you're only seeing it from one angle.
Oh, right.
It's just the Kong. Like,
very limited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a lot of like you trying to stay alive while these monsters are wrecking shit like in the background. But then it also seems like it's got some kind of crazy story. The whole like monarch thing has never been my favorite part of the quote unquote monster verse. But you'll never guess who's super excited for it.
Matthew Frank?
Yep, that's who it is.
Matthew Franklin?
Yep.
You got to say his full biblical name.
I don't know. We'll find out. I think we're going to do a recording for this at some point.
I imagine it'll be a blast, even if the game's not fun.
Yeah.
Because Matt will tell you the history of every single one of those characters.
They seem to have a really hard time with kaiju games. Like,
yeah. Well, what's funny is I don't think that's a good Kong game, but like if you switched it and all the monsters were like, what was that J.J. Abrams Cloverfield?
Oh yeah,
If it was just Cloverfield, I'd be like more into it. I don't know why doing King Kong bothers me.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. We got the launch trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants Unleashed.
Nice.
Speaking of crazy mutants, this is the one that is based off of the movie from last year.
They also have a television series.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it yet, but they also.
Michael and I played it for Patreon, and it's very weird, Amanda.
Yeah.
Because it's like a Persona game, sort of, where there's like you have to do things by a certain day, and you have to build social links with certain characters to get access to better upgrades. And then I think the whole thing is about like there's something in the water supply that's making the mutants turn hostile, like to like lose their minds, and the turtles themselves aren't affected because they only drink soda.
That's okay. I love that because they are stupid teenagers.
Yeah. Like there's a whole part that we got to in the demo where Bebop and Rocksteady show up, and all they drink is like water because they got to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
And so I think that from this trailer I was managed to put two together. Michael and I tried playing it co-op, and it's really difficult to play co-op because it's very well. They managed to catch a lot of the style from the movie, right, by making it a lot more sketchy, and they move the camera around a lot, and so it's a little hard to like track two 3D action people.
That's fair. I love them so much.
Also, I think this was originally announced as a Switch game, and I think it looked really bad on the Switch because it's kind of a lower power system, but it looks really good on the PlayStation. And then also they have a content pack that you can buy right now where you get the
you get the Archie comics,
you get the 80s turtles,
you get the
and then they're
the original black and white,
the Eastman and
Laird stuff, and then you get the little mech guys,
the metalheads.
I'm not
I like the fact that
huge fan of the metalhead ones, but I get it.
I like how the 84 comic pack really looks exactly like that. Like the way that their noses are kind of like tipped down and a little weirder looking as opposed to the big circular smooth bulbous noses.
Yeah, I call those the Archie comics ones because that's kind of when they started looking like that.
So, yep, good stuff though. A lot of good stuff out right now. Like,
what's up, guys?
No,
where the hell have you guys been?
Who, the Ninja Turtles?
No, all of it, all the
video
good
games?
stuff. Yeah,
I spent this entire year trying to find stuff to play. We got some new playable characters announced for Double Dragon Revive, which is Amanda, you will actually be able to maybe appreciate this. This is Yuke's next game. since they don't make the WWE games anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
They're making this like
that makes sense.
this kind of Double Dragon brawler, and so they announced Marion, who is now apparently in everything Double Dragon related because
she's the one that got punched in the gut, right?
Yeah, she's from the
now
original.
Now she punches in the gut.
Yep. And then you've got this I forgot his name. It'll say it in a minute. Yagyu Ranzo, who was apparently like the bad guy in Double Dragon 3, but is now...
Sure. Now he's a good guy.
He's like a ninja character. Yeah.
You know what this makes me want?
What's that?
I feel like watching the Double Dragon movie.
I think first time I saw Marion show up, well, no, she was in Double Dragon Neon, I think, but then in River City Girls, they made her into like a muscle mommy with like six-pack abs, and her whole backstory
doesn't somebody try to punch her and she like flexes on him?
I don't know.
Is that what happens? I can't remember.
I just remember her backstory was
it's all a muscle mommy blur now.
After they kidnapped her, she just was doing sit-ups in Magnear jail until she got strong enough to just leave herself to just like
amazing
punch through the wall.
She's like, I got bored. I had to save myself. You guys take forever.
Yeah. But yeah, that's coming out next year.
Nice. I'm in.
Yeah. I don't know. It looks weird. Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I like Ukes. Like, every one of their games is like, okay. I
am neutral to Ukes.
Yeah.
But I know people like them a lot.
Yeah.
The wrestling community is weird about video game stuff, so it's hard to gauge.
I don't know. The look of this game is very like generic and dark. Like it's not punchy like Neon, or it's not like a side scroller, or no, it is a side scroller, but it's not like pixel based.
Yeah.
It's just very kind of like,
I'm actually kind of glad that it's not pixel based side scroller for this.
Yeah.
But it needs something to like make it pop a little.
Yeah. Just something a little bit less, just something different. Something different. Let's see. Speaking of beating people up, we got the update, the fall update trailer for Tekken 8.
Nice.
And the new stuff that's happening. They're bringing back Heihachi.
I'll tell you what's happening. Daddy issues.
Somebody's getting thrown a volcano, for God's sake.
Yeah.
There's a new stage. There's also there's some Halloween costumes.
There's a seductive pack.
Yep.
What did I just read?
To dress up the lady characters.
If I can't make my stupid angry dudes dress sexily, then what's the point?
I think there might be some sexiness for them too.
Yeah.
They've already got pretty sexy costumes.
Yeah, they do. They are half naked most of the time.
They also have like a full like a story episode that's happening, and a bunch of new features and stuff, and a crossover with Nike.
Fuck yeah!
As well as a crossover with some other clothing brand, Gentle Monster, who I've never heard of before. I don't know what their fucking deal is, but they're in there too.
I want a Tekken television series.
Yeah. There was a Netflix animated show.
No, I want a live action. Why is this happening? It's so ridiculous television series.
Who are you going to cast as Heihachi Mishima?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I mean, I feel like
is it
they
just
should all
J.K.
be...
Simmons? He's been going to the gym, right? You saw him. He's all ripped and shit, right?
Yeah, he is super ripped.
Just glue those fucking things on the side of his head. He's got the mustache for it. Glue some eyebrows and some giant hair. Horns
you know what?
on.
I laughed because I thought it was a joke, but now I'm starting to think you're serious, Jeff, and I'm with it.
Hey, you know what?
I support this.
Anything you can put J.K. Simmons in.
I was going to say like a Japanese person, but sure, J.K. Simmons is.
You know who might be able to work for that?
Yeah.
Is if you could actually get Arnold to come in. Of course, the problem would be that Heihachi Mishima
will now be an Austrian
will
man.
be speaking in a thick Austrian accent.
Yeah. And his son actually acts, right? So it could be Arnold Schwarzenegger and son of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know his name.
Yeah.
Bob Schwarzenegger or whatever. I don't know what he calls him.
Yeah. So, and then they've got like some more stuff that's coming later on. So, yeah,
nice.
Good stuff for Tekken. Let's see. We got the 1.0 launch trailer for Wayfinder, which is the game that Airship Syndicate made, who is basically the people that made Darksiders.
Okay.
They split into two teams.
Yeah.
One of them is Gunfire, and the other one is Airship Syndicate. And this was their attempt to make like a kind of an action MMO. And it came out a little while back, and it wasn't very well received. But according to at least the Steam reviews, they took a lot of the feedback to heart, and they added a lot of stuff. And the art style is still amazing. I'm just not sure how it plays.
Yeah. Well, you're never gonna see me play a game like this. So.
An MMO. Yeah. But there's like little pets and houses and stuff.
Yeah, I got like a dog at home. I could just pet her.
I need to give this. I need to give this a time of day. In fact, I feel kind of bad because this came into 1.0 this week, and for Patreon, Michael and I played. They just did a PS5 update for Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition.
Just played that.
We played that instead.
Well,
like, Michael Wincott, ray traced lighting. Can you go
that's
wrong?
all you need. You had me at Michael Wincott.
Yeah. Speaking of good-looking games, we got the launch trailer for Potionomics Masterwork Edition, which has some of the best-looking characters I've ever seen.
Did we play this? Why does this look so familiar?
I think I played this with Matt, but I'm not entirely sure. Or maybe I just showed it to Matt. Maybe we did play it because it was out on the PC a while back.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those kind of like potion games where you have the potions and then you negotiate.
Sell it to them and...
Yep. But there's a couple of big things here. One is that they've kind of updated like the difficulty. There's like an easier difficulty that you can switch it to because apparently previously it was unforgiving. Like if you got... What would happen is you would make bad decisions in the first few days, and then like 40 days in, you would realize that you were just fucked and there was no way forward.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
But yeah, they've also...
I'm sorry, is that a sexy shark man?
That is a sexy shark man.
Don't remember, or woman. I can't.
Yeah, there's...
I don't know the gender of a shark.
There's also a whole thing where... This was a time-limited game where, like, when you got to the end of this one story beat, you were done. And they've now made it so that, like, afterwards, you can just keep playing. You can romance everybody. You can do anything you want. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
I definitely was the person that you played this with because I remember all of these little things. Yeah.
I just think the animation for these characters is so amazing, and I don't know why like this one indie game looks like a fucking Pixar movie, but not all of them.
Yeah,
because I kind of feel like
they mastered it.
Yep. But that's out now. It's on the PlayStation as well as an update for the PC. So.
Nice.
Disney Speedstorm.
You put this in just for me.
I did. I saw it. Disney Speedstorm is getting a Miss Piggy added, but it's a really weird Miss Piggy because it's just like a person wearing a Miss Piggy head.
Too tall.
Yep.
And she's too thin.
It looks like a character. It looks like a mascot character at a theme park wearing
she makes me uncomfortable. This looks like a Rule 34 Miss Piggy waiting to happen.
And I put this in here, and then I watched this trailer, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. This is bad. This is not Miss Piggy. I know they've got like Kermit and shit in there, and he's like regular. Like they've got like Sully from Mad Men. Yeah. It's not like Fortnite where everybody has to be the exact same body type. Why did they put in this
sexy piggy in like a very specific kind of...
Yeah.
Because she's a woman.
I guess, but...
Because she's a lady.
I don't know. Everything else is fine. Just make her Miss Piggy. Like...
Yeah, but they're not going to do that when they can make a sexy lady body.
Yeah, but the thing is that
it's still Miss Piggy.
People that are just generally into sexy ladies are probably not, or might be put off by Miss Piggy head, and people that are into Miss Piggy are going to want the Miss Piggy body. Yeah. So,
yeah, I have no explanation. Somebody thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's talk about this on one of the, I don't know, but it was like Michael at some point of just like, why do you like strong, independent women? And it was like, well, you grew up with Miss Piggy, man. You don't want to mess with her.
Yeah.
She's a fucking diva. And then if you cross her, she'll fucking karate chop you.
Yeah, she'll straight break through a wall and kill you.
Yeah. You mess with her man, and then she's coming for you like a fucking slasher. Vampire Survivors just put out another DLC, and this is amazing. They finally came all the way around. This is the Ode to Castlevania DLC that adds a lot of the protagonists from multiple Castlevania games in as characters that you can now play in Vampire Survivors. And it's like a lot of them. Like I think the dev came out and was like, please don't try to speedrun this. There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
here.
That's like a full screen of people.
Yep. And there's a lot of them that have whips.
So are we going to lose you to Vampire Survivors again?
No. you're losing me to Metaphor ReFantazio,
That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
Vampire Survivors. But yeah, they've got a lot of the different characters, and how fun this must have been for them to add in all these characters.
Yeah, for sure.
And also enemies. So, yeah, cool stuff.
Fun.
Cool stuff. Let's see. We also got the release date for Metal Slug Tactics, which is and the announcement that they're adding in, strangely enough, the Ikari Warriors, which was like a really old franchise.
Sure.
With the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Of just like two dudes got guns.
Well, they fit in the genre then.
Yeah. As well as there's another, it's like this lady character that I don't know, Leona. I don't know where she's from. I don't know if she's
a babe,
an Ikari warrior or not. But yeah, looks like a Metal Slug, but a tactics game.
Yeah.
And it's coming out November 5th. So right around the corner.
Pretty soon.
Yep.
Get hyped, guys. Metal Slug.
I got a lot fewer links here than I thought. Anyway, let's see. There's a sorry, I'm out of it. My coffee did not. This coffee did not work.
Can you guys tell us this is the end of the day?
Yes. So last week there was an announcement that might have gone under people's radar. I found out about this through the Steam Next Fest for a game called Butcher's Creek that put out a demo. This is the latest game from David Szymanski, who is the guy who made Dusk and Iron Lung.
Yeah.
And it's basically Condemned Criminal Origins, but you're like a guy that gets kidnapped by a cult, and then you have to basically like murder them with like pipe wrenches and like you have to throw bottles at them and just like
he also is kicking them with his bare foot.
He is naked. Your character is naked because when they kidnapped you, they took all your clothes.
That's amazing.
And instead of getting your clothes back, you just kick ass nude.
Sure.
Basically.
Wang jangling like there's no tomorrow.
You also you have to pick up old VHS tapes in order to save your game. And you get health back by taking Polaroids of brutal murder scenes that are around.
That's amazing.
The horrible, dingy underground.
I thought you were going to say you get health back by taking nude pics because he's naked and he has a Polaroid.
Taking selfies. Yeah, I played a little bit of it. I played enough of this to know that I want to hold on and then play the whole thing instead of just playing the demo. I think this is coming out around January, which is a real shame because if it had come out for any time in October, it would have been on the Asylum and the Dojo and everything because David Szymanski is... I just love his stuff. Like, he's such a great... And I love this is a very simple game, but like you put like this flashlight vignette around the side and then this kind of VHS sharpening filter over it that makes the whole thing incredibly unpleasant to look at. And it really all ties together into
it works.
something great. So
real Blair Witchy.
Yeah. So yeah. Play the demo. Wish list. Do whatever.
Do it.
Let's see. Let's finish up with a few other things. Dave the Diver is apparently looking to make a sequel that has, and when they were talking with the developers about it, they said that they were interested in taking Dave to new places that were not about just diving again. So
but
putting
he's
him
the
into
diver.
Other places. Well, they don't want to pigeonhole him. They want to have like a whole...
Dave can have different hobbies and jobs if he wants.
Yep. They said they're working right now. They're trying to make some more DLC, and they're also want to make separate games about each character to show how they met and what they did before coming to the blue hole. So
that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
To like expand their world via different main characters.
Especially because there were so many great characters in Dave the Diver. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty much in for whatever because I really like Dave the Diver. So yeah, give me more.
Give it.
We got another story where there was that Sims game called Inzoi that's like a competitor to the Sims, and apparently
good luck.
Well, apparently it was supposed to be out at some point this year, and the developer confirmed that it will be out before the year is over into early access. But then they're
New Year's Eve.
They're thinking that what was this one where like the developer said that like their plans or for this game to go for 20 years, and that would probably not even be like completely feature complete until around 10 years of development of like having a long-term thing. I'm kind of rooting for them because somebody should be a competitor to The Sims.
It's so weird. I feel like the idea of The Sims is kind of easy.
Yeah.
And yet nobody except like Animal Crossing can even compete. And even then, it's not the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, how?
Well, and then from what I know, I feel like every fan of The Sims hates it. Like, like nobody's happy with The Sims 4 right now, and EA is like, they just canceled what their next project that was in that universe was going to be, or they're moving it to mobile or something like that, to the point where everybody's still mad about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, give it a shot. Take a shot at the king. They're weak. They're weak.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, I honestly think any fresh blood would be good for it.
Especially because the Inzoi is trying to do, like I think they're using Unreal Engine. And so they're going for like realistic.
Yeah.
Like a very realistic take on it as opposed to the kind of like cartoony.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the one with the character creator that everybody went fucking nuts about.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, it's a Sims game.
Yep.
Are they going to talk in Simlish?
That I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? And that gibberishy bullshit?
I don't know. I have no idea. Because I'm not really super interested in The Sims to begin with. And then it's like a competitor.
I really want them to beatbox. Like, that's just how they communicate.
Like, instead of talking.
Well, because if they're like, it's just too difficult to like record a million different things for people to say.
Sure.
So we need them to just speak gibberish or whatever. Then why not just go full force and like everyone's voice is a different horn? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, I just looking at it, I can spend hours playing this.
It's got that character creator.
Just creating the character. I don't do Sims because I will just play it for hours and hours and then not enjoy my day, and I don't like doing that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. See how it goes. Let's see. This is just kind of a general announcement. Xbox has their wireless headset that they put out. They've just redesigned the entire thing and raised the price on it.
Of course.
So it's $10 more. It was $100. Now it's $110. But they've also added in like Dolby Atmos as well as some of the other surround sound things, and they've reworked the little cups to make them more comfortable and yada yada yada.
That's so exciting that now I can hear the crispest of mean shit people say to me while I play Xbox games.
Yeah. It also has a better battery life,
like
so you can hear it for longer.
Yeah, yay.
Yeah. I don't know. This is, like I said, more of an announcement. I've tried. I actually bought the nice PS5 surround headphones, and I was like, these are probably better than just playing the game, but I just don't want something on my head.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't like
not
doing
into it.
I don't know. But all I know is that John and I are terrible with headphones, and anytime we have them, it feels like our ears just eat the foamy cups on the inside, and they start flaking and they start like tearing apart, and
it's too hot, and you start to sweat a little bit.
And then like I have 2 sets of earrings on each ear, and anything that pushes against my head, and I have glasses, and it's just like, this is a sensory nightmare.
Hey man, I got some nice Bluetooth earbuds, and I got some nice like thin, skinny wired headsets for like Zoom calls and stuff and shit. So.
But I hate it. John has to do it more, headphones more for his work.
Oh, right.
But I...
yeah. All right, let's get a few kind of just general things to wrap up with. There was a team that was making a remake of the original Fallout called Fallout Vault 13. That team has been disbanded, and that project has basically been canceled.
Oh.
They basically cited...
Was this just a passion project?
Yes.
Oh.
and they just cited like the team wasn't like the people had burnout and like they couldn't get the schedules together.
Yeah.
And so instead of just limping along, they were just like, nah. But then a lot of the people from those teams apparently wandered over to. There's a thing called Project Arroyo that is a remake of Fallout 2 in the Fallout 4 engine. And so the people that still wanted to work have apparently moved. Some of them at least have moved over there.
I mean, good for them.
Yep.
That's rough. I honestly respect it. Sometimes it's hard to give up on a project that you've tanked a lot of time into.
Very true.
But sometimes it's worth it to just like move on and do something else and be fresh and enjoy what you're doing.
Yep. Let's see. Somebody... speaking of mods, somebody has modded James from Silent Hill 2 into Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which is basically a jet grind Radio Future style game.
Why?
Because they can.
Sure. Why do I ask these questions? I know the answer.
Why would you put a baby head on Chris Redfield and put Chris head?
Because it's funny. Because it works.
Why would you make a mod where every time you see Lady Dimitrescu, her ass grows by 10%?
You know why, Jeff. Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to.
I know the answer, and the same answer is why would you want the guy from Silent Hill and fucking jet grind Radio Future? So
because
yep,
sure,
yep.
I mean, he looks cool.
Yeah,
he looks correct.
And there's a couple of different kind of iterations, different color variations. So yeah,
that is funny.
Let's see. Funko Pops come for us all, and now that includes Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I would have assumed if you had said they've been out since the game's been out, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I really don't like Funko Pops, but the article that I was looking at that announced this did point out that like they're a relatively low cost way to get into like fandom collecting if that's what you're if you're looking to dip your toe. Funko Pops aren't generally super expensive, right?
Yeah, but yeah, whatever.
I mean,
get what you like. Don't do it as I'm collecting because it'll be worth money later on in life. That's not a thing. Don't think it's a thing.
Yep.
One person's gonna make like $1,000 on a Funko or whatever, and that's it. And everyone's gonna. It's a collector's item.
Yeah.
I am somebody who used to work in a collector's market as somebody that worked in a comic book shop, and I promise you, nothing stays relevant long enough for it to be worth anything.
That's true. Very true.
So only get it if it's worth something to you.
Yep.
I don't care. We have Funkos at home, not a lot. We only have Tom and Crow, Tom Servo
and Crow T
Robot because we love MST3K. And then they came out with a baby animal from the Muppets Mayhem.
Okay.
And I haven't seen it, but if I saw it, I would buy it because it's cute.
Okay. Fair enough. This is a weird one, but there's an artist online called Soccer Mommy.
Sure.
Is an indie pop artist named Sophie Allison who recently put out a single for a song called Abigail, and I can't play it directly for you.
Yeah.
But basically it's about her character in Stardew Valley trying to get with the purple-haired indie character Abigail.
So funny.
And it's a pretty catchy song.
Yeah.
And they made like a little kind of like, this is only like a 50-second, it's like a 3-minute song. It's like a little 50-second video.
Cute.
Inside of them.
Dude, I support that.
Yeah. And they've got a little band camp. So if you're into that, you can go check it out.
You little weirdos.
And then last but not least, I put this on the list. I didn't really have time to go all the way through it, but Star Citizen had like a convention where they talked a lot about their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that they did was they had an hour and 15-minute long intro movie that is like I hit the new game button and started recording.
Yeah. Is that Henry Cavill?
I believe it is, because as you go through this, like they shelled out a shitload of money for talent.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of went through here to look for like, because I like the spaceships and stuff, and man, this shit is kind of my shit.
Yeah.
And not just that, but it's like one of the first games I've ever seen where like walk around in first person on the spaceship and go and get in the thing and like, oh, here come like aliens to attack us, and then you get a gun and play Call of Duty inside of the spaceship. And like and it looks pretty cool. And like Gillian Anderson's there.
I think the other person is somebody too, but you're jumping between and it's hard to see his face.
This character? I think it's the player character though, right?
Oh,
is that like a it's kind of generic.
It is a little.
It's like a generic '90s game protagonist guy.
Fair.
But like, I was skipping around in here and I saw, what's his face? The guy that was in oh God, okay, shit, my brain. The movie where they're the Knights of the Round Table, but they're secret agents. And the first one was good, and the sequel was terrible.
The Kingsman?
The Kingsman. So the guy that's like their Q, like their armor, he's like a bald guy. He's on the airplane with them.
Yeah.
Like he's in here. God damn it.
We're gonna hear like the roundabout version of every actor.
Yeah. The bad guy in Leon the Professional, Gary Oldman, he's in here.
Gary Oldman's in everything.
So like they definitely, oh man, they're going for so long.
Mark Strong is the bald guy that you were talking about.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like Stanley Tucci, but is definitely not Stanley Tucci.
Right. But like they're just, I skipped through here because I did everything else and I just couldn't be asked to watch
an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, you can watch a movie in that time. You can watch this was just Wild Robot in that time.
Yeah,
there he is. Mark Strong.
And there's fucking Gary Oldman behind him. But like everything I see out of this, I'm like, man, this might actually be good. I mean, they raised like an obscene amount of money. They raised like $70 million in crowdfunding and selling ships and stuff for this.
That's insane.
Which is like way over the budget of any fucking video game. And they're like, I promise that we're going to use this to make the greatest video game of all time. And I'm like, yeah, sure you will. This has to be a money laundering scheme.
Yeah, this has, so Mark Hamill's in it, Gary Oldman, Henry Cavill, Gillian Anderson, Jonathan Bailey, Andy Serkis, Mark Strong.
Yep.
God dang!
Like who
the fuck isn't in this movie game?
And the thing is that the digitized versions of them are really good.
I mean, super like
you know
recognizable.
Exactly who that is. Yeah. You see Gillian Anderson, you're like, "There's Gillian Anderson."
I'm gonna love it to the day I die. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, as long as it's a good game.
Yeah, but that's the question. Is like, it's possible.
There have been plenty of fantastic actors in shitty games.
So, like in this, when I was skipping around, it's like you end up on like a giant spaceship with Gillian Anderson. And
my dream.
You're gonna like ram it into an alien spaceship, and then there's like first person like shooter combat with like big aliens, and I'm like, this all looks pretty cool, man. That's like
hype.
Is it possible that they raised $70 million and then made a quality $70 million video game? Because I'd like that to be the case.
Or they made an hour and 15 minutes worth of footage for a quality video game.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is like you're in space jumping between platforms. A lot of the action, when I could see it, seemed to be shooting like a turret on a capital ship at like these enemies. But everything I'm seeing looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm in.
I don't know.
That's cool.
But we'll see. I think I backed this thing at some point, which means I think I technically own this game, but
yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, past you.
Anyway, that's the show, everybody. I don't think I have anything else to say outside of, if you like the show, patreon.com/RageSelect, help us out. I'm not committing to anything, but there's a pretty good chance that Amanda and I are going to play part 1 and part 2 of the Lake House. And then you might find part 3 through part end of the game on patreon.com/RageSelect.
You never know.
I'm just saying.
And by you never know, I mean, I'm saying.
Like,
probably.
We've done every other thing that Remedy's ever made.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever played Max Payne 1 because John and I played Max Payne 2 back in the day.
Yeah.
And then you and I played Alan Wake.
And then we didn't
played
do
Control.
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Ooh, we gonna play Quantum Break, Jeff. I'm in.
The secret backstory of Sheriff Tim Breaker.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, patreon.com/RageSelect helps out.
Get access to the Discord. Get access to all of our bonus, like 1,000,000 years worth of bonus videos.
There's too many. There's so many of them. I just can't make.
There's at least 5.
It's like I'm like some kind of junkie for bonus videos, and that means
We gotta make more. We gotta make more bonuses.
We only have like 1,500 of them. That's not enough. We need more. God damn it!
Those are rookie numbers. You gotta pump those numbers up.
Get those numbers up. All right, that's it. Thanks everybody. Get out of my house. Bye.
Bye.